10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Howdy ho, Gamerinos, and a good morning, afternoon, evening, and good night to all our listeners on this fine Sunday, the 17th of June. My name is James, and welcome back to the Tally Ho Show. There we go. Thank you. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back, and this is now episode 8, and we've got some fantastic topics to discuss today. We've also got some awesome gaming soundtracks, and of course, we do have the next exciting part of the Throne of Games. Is our current king going to succeed for the second week in a row, or is his reign already coming to an end? Considering Andy's the one who's going to do the king, you know where I'm standing in this situation. But as always, ladies and gentlemen, the decision is up to you. But as always, I am not alone, and that means handing over and introducing to my Tally co-host. Some say he holds the fourth piece of the Triforce, and that he has beaten all of the Dark Souls games perfectly without even using a controller. All we know is he's called the British Andy. Hello, good sir. How are you today?
Tally ho to you. I've been very well, thank you. Been very well indeed. And no one, you. That was a secret, James, with the fourth piece of the Triforce. Now everyone knows.
Yes, but considering everyone's going to come at you anyway for the Throne of Games, let's let them have that extra incentive for them to try and take you down.
Fair enough. But yeah, no, I'm doing very well. Thank you very much indeed, James. Thank you. And welcome to everyone that is tuning right now to the Tally Ho Show, live on Twitch, or available to download by podcast, by SoundCloud, and or iTunes. Hopefully you're all having yourselves a very, very good Sunday, again, wherever you're listening to this live, or any day if you're listening to this podcast. And again, as what James says, this is episode 8. We are 2 more episodes away until the end of the season, of the first season of the Tally Ho Show. It's been a really good, a very good roller coaster of a journey of doing this show. Hasn't it been, James?
Yes, we've learned so many new things. We learned about who's everybody's favourite. We've learned lots of different topics and what everyone discusses. And most importantly of all, we've learned that Andrew loves Superman 64. So, something you learn every single day.
On that note, we're not alone on this show. We have another special guest.
We have 2 guest shows and almost 2 shows. We're doing well.
No, back to back, which is great. So for this episode, we have a very good friend of the show. His name is none other than he is a random genius. He is a genius of many, many things. It is none other than our good friend Ian, aka the Random Genius.
Woo!
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be on here today.
How are you, sir? Hopefully you're having yourself a very, very good day today.
Yeah, it's been quite all right. Just been sort of relaxing and prepping for today's Throne of Games, which is going to be interesting, let me tell you.
It's going to be very, very interesting to say the least. So, guys, after our intro and our first topic, we do have the Throne of Games, where everyone that is listening in live can take part, and you have the power to decide which character stays or which character takes over the throne for the Throne of Games. So it's going to be very interesting stuff indeed. We're also going to be talking with Ian a little bit about himself, how he got into gaming, if he does like any certain projects at all, and then we're going to go straight into our topics, and we have some good tunes to play for you as well. So we've got a good over maybe 2 hours of good, really epic content for you to enjoy. And yeah, it's pretty much how we're going to roll today. We also have, everyone that's chatting right now in the chat room. Thank you to everyone that is chatting right now. Let's say hello to Edge, who has destroyed my apartment again. Surprise, surprise.
What's a bit like now then?
Huh?
He seems to do that every single time. I mean, has he just got the Demolition Squad on speed dial, or is he just secretly the Kool-Aid man?
Well,
secretly he's the Juggernaut.
That as well, but I have seen like a wrecking ball like nearby my place, and nobody's in it. And then every time I go live, it
moves just a little bit closer to your house.
He remotely controls the wrecking ball, and all the way from the other side of Canada.
Edge, I I'm gonna say this now. If you do not shout out, I came in like a wrecking ball as you knock his house down, I'm gonna be extremely disappointed with you.
Well then. So yeah, so we have Edge, we have II, we have Shenmue, hello to you. Mr. Bonato's here as well. We have Ian that's chatting right now as well, the Random Genius. We also have Silent Caster who says, tally ho, so much Britishness indeed. So howdy to you, sir. How are you? Hopefully you're having a great day. But yeah, no, James, I'll make you a deal. That's what Edge says.
Is it a deal with the devil?
Yeah, with Edge it is.
Depends on who's the devil.
Yeah, that's a good question. Is it Edge or is it James? Answers on the postcard. And Ian says, well, it's sure not Ellery or Leroy. Hey. with a
Yay for random RPG references that absolutely no one is going to get.
Exactly indeed. So thank you as well to all of you that have come by and chatting. Yeah, as I say, we got a jam-packed show for you as well. First of all, James, how are you doing today? Hopefully you've been well.
I've been pretty damn good, actually. Just been sorting out the rest of my house, and we have just recently bought a hot tub. So, as you know, I've been spending most of my time soaking it up, and it is awesome. As well as enjoying the weather, and more importantly for myself as well, because I'm a huge football fan, the World Cup has begun. Unfortunately, I was in the sweepstake, and my teams are pretty much going out straight away, which I'm not happy with. But what you gotta do?
Sports ball,
yes. All of the sports.
No matter what you say, Andy, it is football, not soccer. You may be over in Canada, but you still need to speak the proper.
I still call it football.
Queen's
okay,
English.
Mate. I still call it football. There are two words that I still call from being back in Blighty. Football, because that's correct. You kick a ball with your foot, not carry a ball, which doesn't look like a ball. And most important as well, we create the sport, we get to bloody name it. Indeed. And also I say aluminium. It's aluminium, not aluminum, okay? So just saying. Also, I'm totally not jealous of you having a hot tub.
I'm quite happy to rub that in your face, Andy. But then again, you had the hot weather yesterday, and we had it almost raining or really, really cloudy, so...
torrential rainstorms is not really a good hot tub weather.
Not unless you hide underneath.
It's a good point.
Just hide under the water and the rain doesn't hit you.
If I'm already wet, then I cannot possibly get any wetter.
Exactly. If you're going to get soaked, at least let it be on your own terms.
Indeed. Also, quickly, I forgot to mention, James. You said to me yesterday when you were sweepstakes for the World Cup, you had Serbia and Switzerland, right?
Yep. Serbia and those neutral bloody people.
The Swiss. So I think, if I recall, Serbia beat Costa Rica 1-0.
I know! I'm so happy about that. And then I realised who's Switzerland, what the next game is.
Well, yes.
It's Switzerland versus Brazil. I am no way in hell going to win that one.
Well, you never know. Know.
Weirder things have happened in the World Cup.
Very good point, especially yesterday with Iceland and Argentina.
Yes, indeed. That was certainly a turn up for the books.
Indeed. So hopefully the Swiss will get into the knockout stages and, get all the way through and possibly win the World Cup. I would have been mad if that happened.
More than likely what's going to happen is the Swiss will take a neutral side to it, and because of that the Italians will change sides halfway through.
Even though they're not in the World Cup.
They'll find a way.
Edge quickly says, I'll pay the bill for wrecking Andy's house whenever I come on and throw in a bottle of Canadian beer for you. Okay, fine. So if Edge comes on the show sometime in the future, then he'll stop destroying my place. We need to talk.
For at least those 3 hours, because you don't know what's going to happen after that.
Indeed. And Shemu says, you sir it with a sock. Oh yeah, soccer. You sir it with a sock. I get it. Funny.
He doesn't really.
Oh, good.
Stop getting into my head. Anyway,
I'm in everyone's head.
Yes. In case
Jesus Christ, that's evil.
In
I like
case,
it.
and with that, in case you wanted to know exactly who did our voice clips, for the jingles that we do, Mr. Ian is the voice.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes more sense now.
Yes, I was asked to do a couple of little promo clips for Andy and James for the show, and I thought, you know what, let's just go the whole hog, and I did about 8 to 10 of them for you guys, of which one has been played on pretty much every show, including such delights as the Persona one from a few shows back,
Indeed.
which I personally enjoyed.
That was a good one. I did enjoy that one greatly.
I'd also be a bit peeved off at the fact that you've done at least 8 of those and Andy's only played 1. It just seems like those other 7 are going to waste at the moment.
I mean, that would be if I only played like one of them out of like how many episodes. It's like I did all this work for you, but
I did all this work and you've given me nothing back. All
I got was this.
Our way of compensating the fact that we haven't used our jingles. That's why we've invited Ian on. Just sort of sweeten the deal with that.
Yeah.
I did all these jingles, and all I got was a lousy T-shirt and a very good British Andy mug.
There you go.
You got a T-shirt? You're doing this for 8 episodes. Nothing.
Yeah. That's what you get for being a host on the show, James.
Where's my British Andy mug though?
You give to the viewers. You don't take. Also, if you want to be a mug, you got to win it. Okay. Anyway. So yes. Anyway, let us go into our little introduction and talk. Let's get to know a little bit about you, Ian. So for everyone that's listening in, either live or in the podcast, tell us a bit about yourself. How you got into games? What's your most favorite game? What's your least favorite game? And are you doing any like specific projects that you're doing as of right now, or you want to do in the future?
Sure. Sorry. So yes, I am TheRandomGenius. I also go by TA Black, and I'm often seen and stroke heard over on Last Minute Continue, which is the site that friend of the show Kev does, and he's been on the show 4 or 5 episodes ago.
It was episode 3.
Yeah, it was actually.
1, 2, 3,
I think it was 5th. I think it was the 4th episode.
5 episodes. Yeah.
So yes, I do a lot of stuff for his channel and his streams and such, and yeah, started sort of getting into video games at a fairly early age. Sort of being sort of fairly young, sort of around the time of the video game TV shows. I used to watch a ton of the Super Mario Brothers Super Show and Sat AM Sonic when I was small, and I mean really small. So that sort of imprinted on me when I was young, and then it was sort of first actual games console proper that I owned was a Game Boy given to me by my parents on Christmas, and I always remember the 3 games I played on it: Super Mario Land, which is, of course, the first Mario game on the Game Boy. Very archaic now, but at the time it was fairly archaic. Tetris, of course, everyone's favourite puzzle game. And something that probably influenced my gaming tastes for probably up until this day, Battletoads.
Ah, yes. Good old
Battletoads for the Game Boy.
Oh, boy.
Yes.
I haven't played Battletoads on the Game Boy, actually.
It was the version which was basically the Game Boy port of the NES game. So, Turbo Tunnel, everyone.
Oh.
And then, yeah, so those were the first 3 games I ever played. And as time went on, I got more into the Nintendo franchise. So, the Zelda, I'm a particular fan of. Then there's Metroid, which I got into fairly late on, but still loved old Mario games. And then I started sort of looking into different things. And then I think the thing that really influenced my gaming gaming tastes was Final Fantasy IX.
Okay.
And if you know me at all, which a few people in the chat know me, is that Final Fantasy IX pretty much dictated my absolute love of role-playing games. So playing that sort of just opened up this whole world of games to me, and since then I've been a huge advocate for RPGs.
You must be looking forward to the Final Fantasy VII remakes then.
I'm interested by it. It's going to be different, but yeah, it's certainly going to be an interesting one. And as you can no doubt tell from the avatar that's currently showing on screen, I'm a bit of a Persona fan. Just a little.
You don't say.
So much so that he has an icon of him as a Persona character.
In the Persona style, I should say.
Indeed.
Persona character was the old one.
Yeah. Ein says quickly, well, we all know what E3 game Ian's interested in, and Shenmue goes, FIFA?
Go Sport Ball!
Go team. Go red team. Beat that purple team. Yes.
Yeah. Did you see that ludicrous display last night?
Oh, I know.
Which one?
All of them.
You do realize some of these people on the show are probably trying to escape this World Cup by going into hearing us where we're discussing curling the World Cup.
But if we're talking about World Cup video games, then we're going all meta.
Oh yeah,
True. That is true.
that was a previous episode, wasn't there? Where you talked about sports games, didn't we?
We did. And we're going to talk about right now FIFA World Cup 2014, the game. Anyway. Sorry, Ian. Please continue.
That was pretty much it, really.
That's just yeah, no, that's it. That's all I got.
All you got.
You've killed the discussion, Andy. You've killed the discussion.
As I do all the time.
Not as in simple, just killed it. This is as in clean shave and just decapitated it.
Thanks, guys.
Welcome.
Is there any things that you're doing, like projects that you want to get in? Are you doing like streaming, reviews, or something?
As mentioned before, I help out with the Last Minute Continue streams, which are 8:30 GMT, BST on Sundays. I'm one of the aforementioned crew, so I get involved in various multiplayer stuff and co-coms and such. And as some people in the chat may know who have been on LMC, I am what is known as often known as the Quip King, due to my higher than average dominance of Quiplash.
Indeed. If you play a game of Quiplash with Mr. Ian here, no contest. He'll just destroy you multiple times because of his wittiness, and or it's a case of you see a witty answer and a not so witty answer. You're like, the witty answer's Ian. I'm going for this one, and then you find out the not so witty answer is actually Ian. He just
It's
knows.
gone to the stage where I just double bluff everyone.
Yeah, you do. It's just like Ein's like, I give him a run for his money. Yeah, you're usually the one
we
that
have a challenge.
Ein usually gives Ian a run for his money when it comes to being the Quip team. He usually takes it, and then Ian just takes it back again. And
I just sort of sniped at the end, and everyone just sort of face palms when the inevitable mention comes up.
Indeed. But it's all enjoyable.
And Ian just wiping it off everyone, just going, what's the matter with you? That belongs to me.
Yeah. Property of the random genius, do not steal.
Yeah.
And so, Shenmue says next was showing Kiwami 2 getting the players GR. Oh, okay.
Yes, Mr. Goro Majima.
Goro Majima, indeed. Legend. So yeah, so that's a little bit about Ian. So thank you very much indeed for for us to get to know you a little bit about yourself and what you do, and with your gaming as well. So I think we're going to get straight in with our first topic.
And of course, it's a very formal welcome as well to the Tally Ho Show to Ian.
Indeed.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so Irony Oshie has just said this is a talk show. Yes, it is, as we're about to start off because we are literally just about to go into our first topic, which is actually my topic for this week. And the topic isn't covering E3.
Huh?
James? Uh-oh.
I think we've lost James.
I think we've lost him again.
Try checking down the back of the sofa.
Yeah, I'll just have that. Well, I found a dollar. I found a loony. I found myself a $1 coin, so that's fine. But no James. Hello.
Hello.
I have no idea how this is happening. See, I told you my Discord was worse.
It's the power going in and out again.
It must be. That's
It
not
always seems to it always seems to happen every time we do a show. Your power goes. When we're like talking normally, it's like nothing happens. It's like your power doesn't like the show or something.
It's
all
like
those times that I've made fun of Twitch, and now they're having a go at me for it. Now they're taking their revenge.
It's like your computer's going, right, okay, this is nice and normal. You're going to do something critically important on the internet. Shut down everything.
Be a shame if you stop talking.
Goodness gracious.
Anyway, yeah.
It's like your servers in Madagascar and someone's just coughed over from Brazil and it's just gone shut down everything.
Yeah, that makes more sense actually.
I will
That's
have.
it. Email those that are interested.
I will have words with Brazil after this to say please fix our servers. Episode 9, the Tally Ho servers.
Anyway, I should probably get started before my mic goes again. So, our first topic for today, the one I've picked, is a question for you two gentlemen. And it's a would you rather question.
Okay.
Game related as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, would you rather play a game that had absolutely a fantastic story that got you hooked in, but it had the worst graphics? And I'm talking about ET style graphics back in the Atari.
Ooh.
Or would you have god graphic displays that you get in today's sort of games with like computer, PlayStation 4, Xbox sort of style? And I mean, these are talking perfection graphics, where the storyline was just absolutely rubbish. You just couldn't get into it. So what would you prefer? A game with great story but shoddy graphics, or with godlike graphic display but a bad storyline? And because it is we have a brand new guest, I'm going to open the floor to you, Ian. So you can start us off. So what do you believe?
It's an interesting discussion there regarding sort of the whole difference between graphics and storyline. For my opinion, it has to be the story. Story takes precedence over everything else. Basically, you've just got... If it doesn't have a good enough story to engage me, then I'm sorry. It could be absolutely fantastic. It could be the best looking thing on the systems. If it doesn't engage me in a story, then I'm sorry, I'm not going to be interested. It has to be a good solid story, really sort of good grounding of the characters, or just generally just be really sort of enjoyable. And if the graphics are bad, then the graphics are bad. I mean, heck, that's what all the sort of the big games sort of way back then the SNES era were like. Sort of the graphics weren't brilliant, but you could but some of the games, you understood the stories, you got into them, they actually managed to tell something deep. So it's just a case of you can live with bad graphics, you can't live with a bad story.
Yeah, I think that's the same, because it seems like a lot of companies now are pretty much remastering old like PlayStation 1 and Xbox games and old Nintendo games, but to do up the graphics, because they knew that the graphics may have been awful, but the fact that it was a great story, it was just great gameplay itself, that it sold millions, and that's why people called it in. There's been a couple of games that have come out recently that have just like, the graphics have just been brilliant, but at the same time, you just couldn't get into them as much as you wanted to. Yes,
that is certainly the problem with a couple of games, is that they have just gone, in my opinion, they've gone more towards the graphic side of things than the actual plotting, and you lose some of that if you go too far. But yes, it is sort of one of these things that I sort of go, well, ideally you want the best of both worlds, but if you don't have a good enough story to keep people interested, then why are you playing the game? Aside from going, ooh, look at the pretty butterfly.
Ooh, a butterfly! Oh, it's dead. Wait,
Is
what
this
is it again?
But yes, that's pretty much sort of my opinion on the matter, and so yeah.
I think because I'm in the same boat with Ian in a way. It's like sure you can have. I mean, like coming with it as well. There are some games that have recently come out that have amazing graphics and also a decent story. I mean, I haven't played it, but God of War on the PS4. I've heard so many great reviews on God of War, not just from critics, but actually like gamers as well, saying how amazing it is, how great the how gorgeous everything looks, the characters, how they've been set out, and the look of them, and also the fact that how great the story is. So I mean, in a way, it's like some games, like people get it right. The game developers get it right with the graphics and the storyline. But yeah, as you say, there are some times where you have a game that has like such amazing detail, but the story was just it's lazy, like to some extent. And other things as well. The story is absolutely tremendous, but the graphics aren't like not very dated, so to say. For me personally, as I say, I'm in the same boat as Ian. I would prefer honestly a good storyline rather than amazing graphics. I mean, it's like sometimes with games, yeah, they're not going to be the greatest look-wise, but it's like if you can get past that by saying, if you look at a game and the first thing you notice is the graphics, and you think to yourself, well, I'm not going to buy that. Look, it's just garbage. And then it's like, well, you can't just assume that a game with not very good looks wise with like the graphics and everything and the detail, you can't just assume that is a bad game. You should at least like give it a go, see how it is, like with like the controls, the storyline, how it feels, just get the feel of everything what the game like has to offer, then put in your 2 cents, because you can say, yeah, okay, the look of it, the whole surrounding of it, it's not the best, but hey, I enjoyed it, and I was actually like, I had some feelings towards the characters in a way, I had some emotions towards that, and that, that's what I feel like video games do well with when it comes to a story. If you have a really good storyline and you have really good characters that people can like or not like, you've got to win when it comes to those games.
Yeah,
Sorry,
mate.
I was going to say that Edge has raised a really good point regarding Final Fantasy 13. Was sort of designed for PS3 and 360, sort of built up from that, and it was graphically wonderful at the time. Absolutely looked the part. The story, however, definitely left a lot to be desired. That was actually one of my examples of good graphics, bad story. Final Fantasy 13. That's a thing. Oh, as I like to call it, Corridor Walking Simulator 2006.
Amazing.
Ironically, I guarantee someone has probably created that called Walking Simulator. And if you have, please, if someone knows that that's been created, please post it.
It's probably on Steam somewhere. You could just go on.
I want to see this. I want to see how good it is.
Go on Steam, type in Corridor Simulator. I'm sure it's there. Probably made by the people that made Totally Accurate Simulator or something like that.
Simulator. You too can create your own simulator game using this simulator engine.
Exactly. See?
Simulation.
Game of the century. Shenmue says Final Fantasy VI is the best Final Fantasy, much better than Final Fantasy 15. Is that regarding with like the story, Shenmue, or like? Feel free to let us know on that. By the way, guys, in the chat, feel free to let us know what you prefer. Do you prefer games that have really good graphics but bad storyline, or do you prefer a game that has an amazing storyline but like not the best graphics?
Wait, is there any particular game that stands out for you? The fact that, because I've got one, and I don't know, it might be a bit controversial.
I've got one that sort of squarely sits with good graphics, but bad story that isn't Final Fantasy. And I'm going to get a lot of hate for saying this. And it's Star Fox Adventures. I just cannot get into that game. I've completed it, but the story is just... What is the story? The graphics are absolutely superb. I mean, for the GameCube, it was phenomenal. Especially the water effects and such, but I just couldn't get into the story. The story just killed it for me.
That's where I'm going to interrupt and say you're wrong. No, I'm joking. But I get what you say. Like, the story is a hit and miss when it comes to Star Fox Adventures. Me personally, yeah, the graphics are... I feel like, for me personally, Star Fox Adventures is one of those games where the graphics are amazing and the story's decent as well. It's cheesy, that's the one thing, and it's like, I mean, it's totally something completely different from the Star Fox franchises. They decided to just go completely out of it, like out of the box, see how it goes. And yeah, I agree. It's like the story is not enjoyable for some, but it is, enjoyable for others. But yeah, no, I'd say that, it's a cheesy storyline, gives a few giggles here and there, and yeah, I enjoyed it. But I get what you say, in the story, like for some people, it's not the best.
Yeah, and I can understand that sort of for others, they sort of really get into the sort of the story and the background of Dinosaur Planet, but yeah, for me, it just missed on all fronts, personally. Iron Yoshi has brought up a good point here regarding moral choices with games.
Yeah, I love the whole moral choices, the ones that actually give you, like, your efforts are basically changing the course of the whole game. That's a brilliant feature, and I think more games need to have that sort of feature, because it's alright playing one linear story where it just goes for one bit and you do every single level correctly and all that stuff, which is fair enough, because some people like that sort of games. But when you're given the choice of whether to be the good guy, the bad guy, because I think everyone seems to have that little bit of evilness inside them. Whether you're good, whether you're wholly good, wholly evil, you've always got that separate, like, devil angels on your shoulder face. And the games with moral choices give you the choice to sort of go, actually, what would happen if I was a bit evil and went down this route? I think that's a brilliant thing to have, in my own opinion.
I mean, like, not so much as like choose your... I mean, like, if you want to pick a game of like choose your path with like moral choices, you've got like Shadow the Hedgehog to some extent.
All Hell Shadow.
All Hell Shadow. I mean, in a way, I'm trying to figure out, like, when you pick good or evil, like that game, you can decide where you want to be like a good guy or a bad guy. With other things, like we're choosing like paths and having like circumstances happening regardless of what paths you can take. There's a few games out there that has that. One recent game that does that, which I've seen watched the stream of, is Detroit Become Human, which is
yeah.
Which that seems to have it, and it's like I seen like one chapter where it's like the person that was streaming it, he was playing through like this part as one of the androids with a detective, and all the things that he made. He had a fighting sequence with another android. During that fighting sequence, well, I'm not going to say anything else on there. I'm going to leave it because there's spoilers, and I don't want to spoil it.
Spoiler alert!
Yeah, don't want that, but. In the end, he made a decision, and then after that chapter, the whole thing comes in showing you like a tree, and it just shows you like you took this path, you took this path, you took this path, and it shows you like, okay, you did this, but here's all these other things that you could have done to get these other endings of that chapter, which I feel like in a way is really, really good, because you feel like with that you want to get the good ending on like certain chapters or at the end of the game. So if you see like you went through this whole path, oh, by the way, you missed, like, you were one step away from getting that good ending or one step away from the bad ending, and you're just like, so it makes you feel like once you complete the game, you want to get back into it and play it again and again and again and again. So
guaranteed the time I play a game like that again, it won't say you could have done this. It'll be you screwed up here, you screwed up here, you screwed up here, you certainly screwed up here, screwed this up. Actually, you know what? You didn't do anything right. You're an evil person. You just go on. You know what? Go give us the story. I don't care.
It's the sort of topic behind some of the visual novels, as well as that sort of certain visual novels you go down certain routes depending on how you interact with characters and such, and sort of taking that and putting it into the sort of mainstream or mainstream type games. I think my personal opinion is that the idea with multiple choices is sort of really good and sort of really lends to sort of depth and such and replayability. But it's just whether that replayability works. If it just ends up going the fact that by doing this thing you just did one small thing, then
Yeah, well, there's not like a major difference. If you do whatever more choice you want, you still get the same result at the end of it. Yeah, because what was it? Wolfenstein, the Old Blood has got that feature. It does one point where you have to choose who to save, but in the end, it doesn't change anything. It doesn't change the whole game and the whole ending. So you just feel like there wasn't really much like pressure behind that decision in the end, was there?
So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't technically played the new Wolfenstein game, but you know, it's like with those like multiple choice type games, it's kind of like a hit and miss thing. It has to work really well, and you have to like do good with like the choices that you make in the the ending. Because if you do like one way and you get a specific ending, and then you play again, and then you do a different way, and it's like kind of the same thing, it's kind of just like, well, I just wasted my time doing that.
Waste of my time replaying it, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yoshi quickly says, because he asks the question, he says, what would you rather play? Would you rather play Fable or Infamous? Or Infamous over Fable? I'm guessing, like, I think I've played the original Infamous and a couple of, like, the Fable game, the old Fable games. Guys, let's go for this. Like, for something with like graphics and story wise between like Fable and Infamous, we'll just say this quickly. What would you prefer? Like Fable,
hands down.
Fable for you?
Fable hands down.
Never
played Infamous, so it has to be Fable by default. I can't say I prefer a game if I've never played it.
No, that's understandable.
I've played Infamous Second Son. But I got through it so quickly, I didn't realise that it had finished by the end of it. I thought, wait, that's the end? What the hell was that?
I finished the tutorial. Wait, why are there words scrolling up now?
Yeah, honestly, it honestly felt like that. I've just finished like a tutorial or finished like half of the mission. I thought, okay, so we're on to the second half of the mission. And the credits are rolling. Oh. I didn't really get into it as much, but Fable, because it was one of the first PC games I played, and it just got me hooked straight into it. And it took you ages and ages. It took you time more traveling, but at the same time, I preferred it a hell of a lot more than Infamous, especially out of the two. It had definitely a Fable.
The lasting memory I have of Fable 3 is the fact that you could make declarations as the king whilst wearing a chicken costume.
That was awesome.
Or queen, I should say.
You are literally the Chicken King.
Yes, and that's my only memory of the game. Fable was okay, but not really that good in my opinion. It was a nice time filler, but it wasn't much else in my opinion.
But the multiple choices as well were actually part of Fable, the main thing, because near the end of it, it was a case of you had to decide whether you would get the money, I think, to save your country, but then break some of your promises you made, or keep the promises you made, but probably end up with a lot of dead people.
You see, at that point in the game, I was a property magnate and who controlled the entire kingdom, so money wasn't the problem. And that's the thing with these kind of things, is that sort of they present you with these choices, but it's the case of, well, if you really want to make these choices, then how come there are all these workarounds? If you want to sort of primarily say, do you want to be good or bad, or just go, well, you could sort of plough all the money towards civic projects and not towards the army, or I could use my enormous wealth in order to maintain the funds and keep everyone happy and keep everyone sort of nice and happy and no one died, and then I get to be the Chicken King.
You're so adamant. You're so adamant about being a chicken king, aren't you? King of the chickens.
It's the best king.
What has our king just said? He said and spoke the words, "Thou shalt."
He said 3 eggs for everyone.
He's got my vote. 3
Yeah.
chicken coop for everyone.
For me,
Chicken king.
For me, I would have to go with Fable. I mean, Infamous, it's a good game. It has a good story. I've only played the first Infamous, so apparently, as what Yoshi says, original Infamous compared to Second Son, in my opinion, story-wise, is longer. But I've only played the original Infamous. It was okay, but I would prefer Fable because the story's really, really good for what it is, and also I've only played what game? I think I've only played like the second one. So, but again, I enjoyed that. Really good storyline. Really nice graphics as well. So yeah, for me it would have to be Fable over Infamous on that, for sure. And then Iron says, "I raise you one with Dragon Age Inquisition."
Again, not played it, so no opinion.
Yeah. And he said, to be fair, Ian once praised the chicken god.
You do not annoy the gods of the chicken, or when Colonel Sanders comes down and haunts your dreams.
Oh dear me.
Geez.
Yes. More role-playing shenanigans.
Indeed. Gotta love them role-playing shenanigans. They're the best kind of shenanigans. Okay, so after you, James.
Yeah. I think if you guys are happy, I'm more than happy to go to a conclusion now if you like.
Yeah, sounds good. Let's do our conclusion.
Okay then, so the question we had at the beginning was, would you rather play a game with great story but shoddy graphics, or would you rather play a game with god graphic displays but a bad storyline? And even though I've got kind of an idea how this is going to end, but sod it, let's go for it. So Andy, what will you choose?
For me, definitely it has to be a good storyline. I don't really care about the graphics as long as there is a story that I can get into, that I can feel emotionally for, and just works well, and just blends in good with the controlling and the style of everything. That's a win for me. So I'd prefer a story rather than graphics.
Excellent. So we got one for great story, shoddy graphics, and Ian, yourself?
I agree with Andy. It has to be the story over the graphics, in my opinion. It may look absolutely fantastic, but if it doesn't have something to keep the player interested or to keep me engaged in the story, then all it's going to be is either going to be a time waste, or I'm just not going to be as engaged as something else which has a really strong story, something that keeps me wanting to play this more and more and more, and actually get invested in the characters.
That makes sense. And yeah, as well as me, mate, guys, it's going to be a great story over graphics any day. You can have fantastic graphics, but if you can't play it, it's like Ian's just said, if you've got a bad story, no one's going to want to play it. So there we are, guys. That was our first topic completed. So I don't know about you guys, but I feel like lots of our viewers would like to listen to some fantastic gaming music. What do you say?
I think that's a great idea. Oh.
And
Okay. Well, okay, it's a tied vote, so how are we going to do this?
Simple. It's my words, so I'll say it. We'll go
I defer to Andy's judgment.
Well, okay, what we're going to do is, because we're tight, we need to form a coalition, Ian.
Oh, no, we have one of those. You
know how those go well.
Yeah, except for this one. This is sort of like the little... This is the one that actually does work, collaborating.
Indeed.
I think so, anyway.
Nick quickly says, hi Andy in chat. So hello to you, Nick. How are you? Sally ho to you. What about that gameplay, though? With the stuff, with the things. I mean, yeah, if it has good gameplay, like with a game, and good graphics.
Yeah, good controls are obviously going to be a main thing with games, but thing is,
also,
with certain games you can learn to just get over bad controls. You can't learn to get over a bad story.
That is true. I totally agree with that. And Yoshi says gotta go. So thank you so much for coming by, Yoshi. Thank you so much for stopping by. Always greatly appreciated for you always coming in to tune into the show. So yeah, James, what have we got this time? What songs have you picked for this episode?
Well, for my first 2 songs, we're going back into the past. We're going to go on from the Nintendo 64 console, and then we're going to go into the PlayStation 2s. And these are going to be 2 games that I fully remember playing. One of them was in fact the very first PlayStation 2 game I ever bought. So I remember this music, and I just remember the game so much because I really want to get PlayStation 2 just to play it again. Again, though, it was bad graphics, but the gameplay was solid, and the story as well was brilliant. That's why I love playing it. So we're going to start off our first one, which I believe, if I just bring this back up, was from...
Oh.
I think we've lost James again. Oh.
Okay.
Okay, so
Computer's like saying, no, we're not going to find out what music you played.
Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so we're going to start off with, on the Nintendo 64, it was Super Mario, and this is Koppa's Road. And you are listening in to the Tally Ho Show with me, James.
And me, Andy.
And with our special guest, Ian. We shall be back in just a short while, so just sit back, relax, get yourself a nice brew, and enjoy this fantastic music.
And avoid the banana skins.
Please do.
And so, the journey continues. Step forth, brave warrior, for you must fight to take the ultimate title this universe has ever known. King or Queen of the Throne of Games.
And welcome back to the Tally Ho Show with James and Andy and our special guest star for today, Ian from The Random Genius. Now, the songs that we just heard was Cooper's Road on Super Mario 64 and Underworld area music number 2 from Maximo Ghosts to Glory. Now, as you can tell from the music, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time again. It is time for the next Throne of Games. Now, for those of you who have never heard of this before, you're probably wondering what's going on. Basically, every week, me and Andy would get 2 characters together and they would fight it out to, basically, we discuss who should be the king or queen of the Throne of Games.
He's gone again. I insert elevator music here.
Do 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 do.
Hello.
There we go. You're
I
back.
hate this. Why is it doing this? I don't understand.
It's your computer. Let's just blame your computer and your internet. Actually, blame your house.
Excuse me, I am not blaming the house at all, thank you very much.
Okay.
Perhaps it just needs edge crashing through it.
Yeah, that's it. We need Edge crashing through the house and then everything will work. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, Edge.
Still, you gotta break his house then, Edge. Anyway, so yeah, the Throne of Games then. So, if you were listening in on last week's show, Diddy Kong took the crown away from Fox McCloud. So Andy is now going to be holding on for Diddy Kong. However, because we have a special guest star, our guest will be the one who introduces the next competitor. So, Ian, please tell us who was taking on Diddy Kong tonight for the Throne of Games.
My esteemed judge, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I give to you the one true owner of the Throne of Games, the perfect prosecutor, Miles Edgeworth.
Woo! I have a Phoenix Wright character at last!
And Andy is in stunned silence.
But will he take the throne from the legendary chimpanzee Kong known as Diddy Kong?
Yes, he will.
We'll see about that. So then, Ian, what about Miles Edgeworth? Tell us a little bit about
Miles
him.
Edgeworth should be on the Game of Thrones, and then we'll have Andy come back saying why he shouldn't, and then we move on to Andy's side, who then does the exact same. Then they'll have a minute to basically get their own ideas in to try and sweeten the deal.
Oh, Andy's also going to talk about how great Miles is. Oh, that's brilliant.
Huh? No. About Diddy Kong, yes, but Iron goes, objection, yes. There's going to be a lot of like objections and hold it and take that in this episode.
Well, let me dive into my investigation record and I will tell you all about Miles Edgeworth, if you do not mind.
The floor is yours, Mr. Ian.
So, for those who are perhaps not aware of the Ace Attorney games, Miles Edgeworth is one of the core characters of the series. He is initially introduced as the main antagonist of the first game, but later evolved into a really strong, well-rounded character with his own sort of motives and ideals, backgrounds and everything else, and that just adds more and more layers to the character. You may be thinking why I'm not going for Phoenix Wright, who is obviously the star of the series, and it's basically the case of, as per gaming canon, Phoenix Wright wants to be Galactus. go, I think Phoenix Wright facing against Diddy would just be too much overkill, so I'm thinking I might as well give the monkey a chance. Also, Miles is a much more interesting character in my opinion. But basically, Miles Edgeworth is this prosecutor who gives himself out as this aura of coolness, of sort of perfection. Everything has to be immaculate. And once sort of Phoenix Wright sort of re-enters his life due to the fact that they were school friends, things sort of start changing for the better in his life. He sort of starts to see the truth in everything, rather than sort of just being perfect and sort of perfect all the time. And that carries on throughout the initial trilogy of games. That's the Phoenix Wright State's Attorney, Justice for All, and Trials and Tribulations. And that evolution just makes him so much of a more well-rounded character, sort of so much sort of depth and nuances to his character. And the fact that he is also got a killer sense of humor. He's sort of very sort of snarky and sort of very sort of is all very snarky, very sort of good sense of humor, and sort of very sort of dry wit. And it's a sort of reason why he's often portrayed as very sort of British, what with his cups of tea and everything. He's surrounded by these cast of so many different people, but he's always one of the ones that's always sort of been a firm fan favorite, and he's just sort of very sort of relatable. Sort of the whole sort of thing of everything has to be sort of you thinking that everything has to be perfect, and if it's not perfect, then it's not good enough. And instead, no, it's just sort of finding the sort of being the best of yourself. That's the main thing, and that's a really strong motive to get away from his character arc. He's also much like everyone has his secret sort of nerdy obsessions. For example, being a huge fan of the Steel Samurai, which is this kid's sort of Power Rangers-esque sort of TV show, where he is just this case of yes, this is a kids show. I am totally not got a model of the Silver Samurai in my office, and I don't have tickets to see his show. And no, that is not his music on ringtone on my phone. And it's sort of that kind of background thing that sort of really sort of grounds the character, sort of makes him very sort of relatable, and also sort of makes him sort of a lot more enjoyable as well. So there's so much about him that's sort of varied, so interesting, and also he uses logic to defeat his enemies. Very few games do that. The only other characters are, of course, Phoenix Wright and Professor Layton. There's just sort of something interesting about just using logic to beat foes rather than just hitting them with a hammer or jumping on them or blowing them up with 15 tons of C4. And that sort of really sort of makes it a lot more of an interesting character.
Okay, so that's a good start from Miles Edgeworth from in there. Andy, do you have a rebuttal?
I have maybe one thing to talk about Mr. Edgeworth. I mean, yeah, he is a great prosecutor attorney. Me getting into, let's say, the Phoenix Wright games, I've always considered him like, one of the like kind of like it's like Miles Edgeworth with how he goes into the courtroom and stuff. It can be like a little bit edgy and a little bit tricky as well, especially when you're up against him. It's funny though that when you first when the game introduces Miles in the first game, you kind of feel like he's badass and cool, and he'll get the job done like regardless, and he's like never lost a case at all, and he just does things well with his job. But as the game progresses, you start to, as the series progresses, he then sees like more truth in things and that. But because I feel like in a way when he starts to feel like decides to join and becomes more friendly, like with Phoenix and stuff, it tends to be like a bit more of a, it feels like he's like getting more soft in a way.
Well, no, it's because he's becoming more of a rounded character. Because he's sort of has spent so much time being tutored by this immensely sort of perfect prosecutor who has to be perfect every single bit. And so his whole sort of youth was sharpened by that. And that's his only way of thinking. And by the softening of that, by being reintroduced to Phoenix and having Gumshoe, Maya, Emma, Sky, and all these others around, it sort of opens up and starts becoming sort of less harsh and more sort of true, as it were, sort of back to where he was originally. Because he wasn't harsh all the time. He just grew up that way because of plot points that occurred in the first game, which I won't say in case anyone has not played the first Phoenix Wright title.
Yes, because it's a little bit hard for me as well, because there was like some things I wanted to explain like with the first Phoenix Wright game, but yeah, as you say, spoilers, I'm not going to say anything. So it's like, but yeah, no, I just felt like he becomes like, I don't know, like, I apologize for saying this, maybe a little bit more of a pushover when it comes to him trying to like figure like things out with his life and everything, and trying to like team up with Phoenix and stuff, and you know, and
I've only got one thing to say about that.
And what?
Objection.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, he's going for it now.
Oh, okay.
Where is your evidence to say that such a thing? Have you got any evidence? Because after all, evidence is crucial in this.
Oh, here we freaking go.
Oh, come on, don't tell me you weren't predicting this, Andy.
No, I was just expecting it. I was like thinking, when's it going to happen? And I'm like, oh, here we go. Now it happens. It's like, I don't know. I'm trying to remember, because it's been a while since I played like the Phoenix Wright games, because I feel like we're being like a pushover and stuff. Like, you know, you first see him as like being like a badass and everything, and like, you know, oh, so edgy, and oh, am I actually going to defeat him? And then you do, and then like as the game progresses, you know, he then starts to like gets more like, you know, he doesn't show like him like be like him liking like the like Phoenix and the other guy and the other characters as well, but he does to some extent. But isn't it in one of the later games, I think, when he, you know, even though he has to, there's like one case that Phoenix and Miles have to face off again, but it's like Miles knows that his person that he's, you know, prosecuting, it's, you know, what he's doing is wrong, but he has to do it anyway because it's his job.
Wrong way.
That's because he's sort of now moved away from sort of, I have to prosecute because I have to, because I want to be perfect. I can see everyone as evil. It's more of a case of, I want to prosecute because I want to see the truth. I want to see precisely what has happened in this situation. And it's one of the major plot points of the second game is that idea. And I'm not going to say anymore because spoilers for second game otherwise, but it is just sort of that logic and that sort of tenacity. It's just a case of, I don't care if I win or lose. I want to know the truth. And that's the important thing in the Phoenix Wright universe, is that the truth will out. And that becomes a big thing later on in other games. But yeah, that's the whole reason why. And Edgeworth will sometimes know that this is not right, but he will do it anyway because he wants justice to be done correctly. And he wants to be sure that the right person is done, rather than just being, oh, the defendant did it because he's the defendant.
Also, I'm just going to go out on a limb and say this, but Miles Edgeworth had more character development in one game than Diddy Kong has in his entire career.
Getting the burns in early, I see.
You had your chance last week, or last episode. All right, James.
Hey, I just said them as a season.
Okay, fair enough. Well, that's I'm finished. I'm finished with my my cons for Miles Edgeworth.
Okay, then. So
the prosecution rests.
Well, not just yet. We still have the rest of the trial to go through. And speaking of the next part of the trial, it's now time for the defence's request of the King Diddy Kong. So, Andy, tell us, why should Diddy Kong remain as our king of the Throne of Games?
Well, first of all, I just want to say a big hello to Abigail, aka Gondor, have just popped into the chat. Hello, Tallyho, how are you? And a 9 says, Andy, this is what you get for upsetting things with Diddy Kong. I'm not upsetting things with Diddy Kong. Here's my take of the greatest Kong around. And I honestly think, because Diddy Kong is actually one of my favourite characters on the Donkey Kong franchise. I'm just going to say that now. So Donkey Kong got introduced to our lives. His first game was, of course, Donkey Kong Country in 1994. And, and just the way he was played with the, in the game and, teaming up with Donkey Kong it was like really awesome to see and very enjoyable. So much so that, Diddy Kong was immensely popular when Donkey Kong Country came out, that he had his own, his own standalone game, so to say, but teaming up with one of the other fellow Kongs with Donkey Kong Country 2. And since then, he's been a part of many other things. He has his own racing game as well, Diddy Kong Racing.
Objection.
Whoa, hold on, sorry.
You get your turn in a little bit, Ian.
Oh my god, I actually get to be a judge, yes! Hold on, we'll do it in the court.
Wait, so if this is a Phoenix Wright style thing, are we going to be doing this for 3 days? Is this what it is? This is a 3 day thing?
This is the first. No, this is luckily the first. This is the first trial. It was only last couple of minutes, so.
Okay, fair enough. Edge says objection. Lanky Kong is best Kong. Okay, that's your opinion. Lanky Kong is cool. I do like Lanky Kong, but Diddy Kong is much cooler. He has his own racing game, Diddy Kong Racing. It's like. You've moved up in the world of the gaming universe when you have your own karting game, for goodness sake. It's all about Diddy Kong. It doesn't have any of the other Kongs, it just has Diddy. If they added Donkey Kong to it, okay, yeah, fine. Then it's like, yeah, because, Donkey Kong and everything. But no, Diddy has his own game. And the other things as well with Donkey Kong 64, you get to see more of a character development. You get to see more of the character of how Diddy Kong is with his life. He rocks out with a guitar. He has a freaking, barrel jetpack. He has freaking twin pistols that shoots peanuts out. It's like, no one can do that. No one can do that. Other than Diddy Kong. And, he's been in Smash as well. And he's being in the Subspace Emissary. Most of the time, yeah, he's like the leader of that with his little team, consisting of Fox and Falco when it came to that part. And I just honestly think that Diddy Kong is a very well-loved character. Not just in the Nintendo universe, but in the gaming universe as well. He's considered highly throughout everything there during gaming. And I think, honestly, he deserves another week on the throne for the Throne of Games.
Thank you very much, Andy. And now we move on for the prosecutor's rebuttal.
Well, where to start with that? Where to start? Well, I think I'll start with the first comment that you made regarding his solo game. You do realise that it wasn't originally made for him. He was just inserted because, oh look, we need to think of something. Oh, we have this really cool racing game. You know what? Let's just stick something that looks vaguely familiar in it. It'll sell. It wasn't built for him. He was just there as a placeholder in order to add in more rare properties to make it more sort of rare-centric. Because actually the Tiger character was supposed to be the main character of Diddy Kong Racing. And then Diddy usurped him. And that's what happened in that situation. And then you mentioned the fact that every good gaming character has their own racing game. Should I remind you of Hello Kitty Racing?
Oh!
I said every good, I said every good character. I didn't say every character. Okay. And also, let's not talk about Hello Kitty.
Well, in the context of this, then basically, just because they have a racing game doesn't mean to say that they're an icon for fantastic gameplay. I mean, heck, the Crazy Frog had his own racing game. The Crazy Frog, who was popular for 15 minutes back in the early noughties. And that's the kind of thing. It's that sort of, yes, he had his own, yes, he starred in his own games, and yes, he did that, but he didn't, it wasn't made for him. The games that were designed for Miles Edgeworth, they were designed around his character, his personality. Everything about it was linked to him. The Diddy Kong games you could just pretty much replace with any Kong, really, and there we go. I mean, heck, Diddy Kong was originally supposed to be Donkey Kong Jr. but Rare sort of 90'd him up, and then Nintendo said has to be a new character. So Diddy Kong was born. He was originally supposed to be Donkey Kong Jr. So even that aspect, he's not unique. He's just basically, he's slightly jaunty. He's got a cool hat and such. So the whole idea behind him being sort of having all these games because of that, him being a sort of grand character, is kind of misplaced, because yes, he's an interesting character, I must admit. He's sort of being able to do sort of emote stuff without much speaking, of which I'll get back to later. But in terms of the games he's been involved in, he's led, they've not really played to his strengths much. And then there's the important thing, is that sort of Edgeworth. Edgeworth has, as his VA for the UK release, a voice actor called Kyle Hebert, who is often known as doing a whole range of voices, including Ryu from Street Fighter, Gohan from Dragon Ball Z, and Frederick from Fire Emblem. So basically, he's got pedigree of all of these fantastic sort of characters and sort of the same sort of regal sort of
let me know to the court that Edgeworth is classified as half Saiyan.
Whereas in Diddy Kong's voice actor in the cartoon show, yes, there was a Donkey Kong Country cartoon show, believe it or not.
Yes.
See the Pro Jared video on it, it's really good. The voice actor is the same voice actor as Yoshi from the Super Mario World cartoon. That's a pedigree, isn't it? And I think the last thing I will say about Diddy Kong is the fact that he doesn't wear a fancy cravat, and that is terrible.
He doesn't need to wear a fancy cravat. He's already stylish as it is. He's already hip and cool. He's hip with the young generation, yo.
But he still doesn't have a cravat.
Doesn't wear any pants. I'm gonna say it, alright? He's not wearing pants.
None of the Kongs wear pants.
And also, he's a bad singer. See the cartoon. You know it to be true.
Low blow, low blow.
I mean, they gave it a shot with the Donkey Kong. They gave it a shot with the Donkey Kong cartoon. I mean, but hey, with the karting game, yeah, okay. Diddy Kong wasn't like supposed to be the star in the game, and it was supposed to be, one of the other characters. But hey, what happened? If they did, yeah, okay, because it was sales. I wonder why. Because it was sales. Because they knew that Diddy Kong is one of the most popular video game characters of all, so of course they were going to put Diddy Kong in there. So,
have you evidence for that? I want hard, irrefutable evidence, a la Phoenix Wright, that he is one of the most popular video game characters of all.
I will go on Google and I'll find a list of my favorite video game characters, and I will see this, and it will take.
But
yeah,
it might take you a while.
Yeah, it will be.
Alright, so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We have Andy representing King Diddy Kong and Ian representing the challenger Miles Edgeworth. Now we come on to the final bit where both of our gentlemen here now have 1 minute each to explain, to sort of sweeten the deal to get you to vote for them. So, as Mr. Ian is the guest for today, he will go first. And Ian, you have 1 minute to tell everybody why Miles Edgeworth should be the king of the Throne of Games. And your time starts now.
Basically, Miles Edgeworth is one of the best video game characters sort of written for sort of visual novels and that kind of thing. He was the main sort of focal point that sort of dragged people into the Phoenix Wright series along with Phoenix Wright himself. He's such a dynamic character. He's got so much sort of gravitas, and his storyline is really sort of deep and interesting, and it just sort of leads itself into the entire rest of the world. He's not afraid of what he likes. His perfection is to search for the truth rather than to assume everything is as it is. He manages to survive in a world where there is just so much weirdness going on that he just keeps on powering through. He is dignified in all cases. He is such a fantastic character. He's sort of very sort of dry sense of humor that's sort of he pulls it off.
And your time is up. That was 1 minute. Very well done, Ian. Now,
Thank you.
Andy, it's up to you now to decide. You also have 1 minute to explain the situation and why Diddy Kong should remain our king of the throne of games. And you ready?
Yep, let's do it.
Okay, and your time starts now.
We all love Donkey Kong. We all love the Donkey Kong franchise. But you know, there's like one Kong that stands out from the rest, and that is none other than Diddy Kong. First introduced in Donkey Kong Country in 1994, having his own standalone game for Donkey Kong Country 2, and also being a part of a karting game, which has his name on it. And as I say, you know, if you're a gaming character and you have your own karting game, you know you've gone up in the world. This is one character that I feel like, you know, he holds a special place in my heart. Well, considered one of the most lovable characters in the Nintendo universe and also in the gaming universe as well. And say in the Subspace Emissary story in Super Smash Bros. Brawl, he was actually taking part in like being a leader, a part of a few of the characters to try and save the day. You know, from being a leader for Fox and Falco, for goodness sake, who are like they're more of a leader than Diddy Kong, but he still took over and got them to get the job done. I consider Diddy Kong to be
your time is up.
To be the
Thank
king
you
of
very
the
much.
game.
Oh, too late.
That was wow! I felt that was a quick minute. Holy crud!
Yeah,
It felt-
here, mate. It was a minute.
It felt a lot longer to me.
Yeah, wow. Also, Edge.
Okay.
Also, Edge says Lanky wears overalls. Yeah, no, I did twig that. I'm like, well, man, yeah, fair enough. Lanky's the exception. Everyone else doesn't wear pants.
And Ein has raised his own objection by saying Funky Kong, that is all.
But can Funky Kong rock out with a guitar and go on, you know, has a barrel jetpack? Nope,
Yeah.
just did he?
Yeah,
Okay.
he has a surfboard.
That's totally rad.
He's also a military expert, boat repairman, and also has the best tune in Donkey Kong Country.
Or better, did he? But anyway, so ladies and gentlemen, that is our two competitors. We have Diddy Kong, the current king, and Miles Edgeworth, who is the challenger. Who will win the Game of Thrones?
Yes.
Oh, the Throne of Games, my bad. So, 8 episodes, and now I screw it up.
Yeah, that's totally something else that we hopefully won't get sued over for.
So, yeah. Technically, it's not on at the moment, so we'll find out.
Yeah, thank
So,
God.
as British Andy has posted, the straw poll is now up. So, you, ladies and gentlemen, have the chance to vote for your champion. At the end of the show, we will come back to this and we will find out who is our king of the Throne of Games. So, we're now going to be moving on to our next music batch, which I do believe is Mr. Andy's.
Indeed, it's my tunes today, right now. So what we're going to be playing, a couple of songs from two amazing composers. One made by the legendary Jake Kaufman, and another one by another legend as well, Danny Borowski. We're going to be having Mighty Milky Way, World 4 Lava. And that's what we're going to be having from Jake Kaufman, and then from Danny Borowski. We're going to have from Super Meat Boy, it's Forest Funk. Channel 1, Light World. So hopefully you enjoy these songs, guys. I know I am. As I say, you're listening into the Tally Ho Show with me, Andy.
And me, James.
And we have Ian, aka the Random Genius, here as our special guest. So enjoy this break. Get yourself maybe some more refreshments or some snacks whilst we delve into getting ourselves prepared for the second topic. And right now we're going to be playing, as I say, from Mighty Milky Way. This is World 4, the Lava World. And welcome back, everyone. So there you go. That was our second music bit. And what we had on was from Mighty Milky Way. That was World for the Lava theme. And then what you just heard from Super Meat Boy, Forest Funk, Channel 1, Light World. So we're going to get on with our second topic. As I say, hopefully you guys are enjoying the show, whether you're listening to this live or on the podcast via SoundCloud and or iTunes. So second topic. So we've had a big event happen in...
Wait.
Yes.
They kept it so quiet.
Is it the Throne of Games?
Well,
Must be. That's the only thing I can think of.
so we've had a second big event that just happened, just recently, in California. As you know, it's the annual event. It's none other than E3. So of course, where we have all the big gaming, like console companies and gaming companies coming in, showcasing all their new and exciting stuff that we're going to be seeing either later on this year or early next year, or how many years down the line. And people are getting so hyped about the latest stuff that are happening. And also there's things that people got hyped about and then just had a big amount of disappointment after they saw the conferences from any of the big gaming industries that came in to talk about the latest stuff. So for the second topic, we are going to be talking about, it's going to be E3. The good, the bad, and the just plain nope. So to kick things off, we're going to go with Mr. James. So James, E3, what do you think? What are you most excited for coming out this year or next year or any more years down the line? And what games are you most likely thinking, not really?
Well, I'm quite happy with the announcement of the Super Smash Brothers. I know that it came out as well a bit beforehand to say, like, we're planning on this. But from that point, I didn't realize how many characters were coming out, because I think you saw as well just how many. I think they've got every single character that they've had over the past few years into this one big game. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward to that. My big surprise, actually, because I haven't really managed to have a look into it a bit further, Fallout was a big surprise. I had no idea they were making a Fallout, a new Fallout game. But more importantly, I did not know how I missed number 5 to 75.
Yeah,
did it just come out randomly? Because how do we jump from Fallout 4 to Fallout 76? Unless I've been in a coma somehow.
Yeah, a lot of
I think it's
people
mainly because it's Vault 76 that's the big thing about it, rather than the actual numerical system. So it's kind of like going from sort of Bioshock 1, Bioshock 2 to Bioshock Infinite. It's just a case of, okay, we're going to go ignore every game from Bioshock 3 to Bioshock Infinity -1.
Yeah, because I think Bioshock number 2805 doesn't really roll off the tongue enough. As well, I'm quite.
I don't know. The sub story about the Rad Roaches was quite interesting.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, good point in that.
Jerry the Rad Roach was definitely a very interesting character.
And the Killer Rabbits as well. The Killer Rabbits taking on Deathclaws.
No, you're thinking of Fallout 12573.
Ah, sorry. Yeah, that's right. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we've got so many jokes about that, so enjoy. As well, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I'm not really a huge Assassin's Creed fan. I just feel like it's the same gameplay all the time. But the fact that it's now set in ancient Greece instead of, well, like the Roman times and all that stuff, and more importantly, you get ship battles, which I'm very happy with. It's one of the other ones, and probably as well is my final one that I'm really looking forward to is the new Kingdom Hearts 3, because we finally have a release date for it.
Yes, it's no longer vaporware. It actually has a finalized date of when it's going to be released, and I think hype is underselling it a little bit.
Yeah?
Yes, it's considering the fact that this game's been developed for so long, that understandably people are really getting into, really sort of looking forward to this. And of course, it is going to be the final game in this story. It's not going to be the final game of the franchise. It's the final game of, according to the rumor, it's going to be the final game of this specific story. So this is going to be the ending point for these characters.
Yeah.
So that's going to be really interesting. Having followed the series, I followed the series since the the original PS2 Kingdom Hearts 1, and I've pretty much played all the games from then onwards, and it's interesting to see how they're going to pull off what is widely considered to be one of the most bizarre video game stories of all time.
It's let's say we
It's
got
a bit odd because they have it's strange that they've got like because unless you've been following it from start to finish, it's kind of hard to keep up with the entire story.
To be honest, if you've been following it from start to finish, you're still not going to understand what half the plot is. And I say this as someone who greatly adores Kingdom Hearts and sort of gets into the whole sort of story about being okay. This is complete nonsense. I'm along for the ride because this is complete nonsense.
Let's just see what happens at this point.
exactly.
Yeah.
MST3K mantra all the way. It's just a video game. I should really just relax.
So much hype put into this.
But we know what happens when so much hype goes into a game.
Yeah. So let's try and relax a little bit. Was there anything on there that you might have just felt like with some games?
A couple actually. There was the new Mario Party has just come out. I'm not really sure how they can because I did like Mario Kart my 3DS, but only like one game at a time. But unless you had some other people to play with, then I suppose it's alright. It just at this point it just feels a bit, especially for the Nintendo Switch as well. It just feels for me that it's just rehashing the same idea big time. I don't know how they can really emphasize a bit more. Maybe the mini games might definitely get that, but from what it looks like, it's just going to be the same standard Mario Party. The one that really caught my eye is Jump Force.
Yep.
It's just been announced coming in 2019. It's basically putting Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, and One Piece, all the Japanese animes together.
Well, the show and jump anime and manga stuff.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work out. Because I did like the Dragon Ball Z games, and Z Fighter looks amazing, and we really need to start playing it again. But I don't know how they're going to sort of... what's the word I'm looking for?
Develop.
Yeah.
Make it unique rather than just a simple rehash of pre-existing ideas, or just
that sort of thing.
Or Fighter Z.
It's just like I feel like they're gonna try too hard with this and not actually focus on one particular part, or they're gonna just focus on one particular part, and the rest of it is just gonna come crashing down on them, which is what I'm a bit worried about. But I might be proven wrong. They might open up and it might be fantastic, it might be amazing. But at this present point, it's not something that I feel is going to be good or looking forward to as much. And yeah, but that's just it. And mostly, of course, the final one, which is the good, the bad, and the just plain nope. The just plain nope has got to go to Fortnite on the Switch.
Oh,
interesting.
Why that?
I just feel like I don't know. I feel like I'm sick and tired of having seen Fortnite bloody everywhere now, and now it was sort of like a case of this is an amazing announcement. We're bringing Fortnite to the Switch. So basically, what you're just taking a game. So this isn't really yours, Nintendo, is it? It's just literally a case of here's a game. We're just throwing it on console. Ready.
I mean, I get that. I get that. It's not really like a big announcement because it's on like every other single platform. But,
yeah, exactly. It seems like Nintendo's arrived. It seems like for me, Nintendo's arrived late at the Fortnite party. Everyone else has already nabbed the buffet and all the drinks, and they're just now coming here to pick up all the crumbs.
Yeah, but the fact is that they're taking away the crumbs, but they're taking away the crumbs with a takeaway box. That's the whole big thing behind it, is that the fact that people start playing Fortnite on the move. And I can see why they deferred the announcement and why this was a big thing, because it is currently the flavour of the month. And I can see sort of how this has sort of come about and sort of how this is a big thing. And the fact is, it was a big thing because of the fallout between Sony and Fortnite.
Yeah, because they wouldn't they wouldn't do crossover play, would they?
No, and that was around ever since Fortnite was released, multi-platform, and it was only when the Switch hit and they added something like 2 million new players ever since it was released, and then suddenly the big thing blew up. Everything blew up, and it's just been a bit of a PR disaster for Sony on that front.
All right.
Because with the Switch, you can be able to crossplay with PC and also Xbox and PlayStation, considering like if there's no someone playing on the PlayStation and playing on the Xbox can team up. It's just a case of like you can play with someone with a PC and with someone with Xbox or PC and PlayStation. So I agree on that when you say like it's a big like PR disaster for Sony. Like if they just agree to the fact that they just use crossplay with everything, things would work out amazingly. Maybe one day in the future that may happen. But no, that's fair enough on your takes, James. We also have Gondor Abigail just said I'm excited for Just Dance 2019, which I saw that on the Ubisoft conference. That was like really good thing how they set that up. And Sayer James has just popped in as well saying, Andy, hello, Sayer James, tally ho to you. Hope you're well. Hope you're having a very, very good day indeed. Thank you for tuning into the podcast. Ian, your take on EA, the good, the bad, and the just plain no. What was your thoughts?
On EA specifically, or E3?
Oh, E3. Sorry, I was looking at. Let's
go for EA.
Let's go for EA. Sorry, I was looking at Nick, who said EA equals bad for the industry, and then Edge comes in saying the good, everything that was announced, the bad, everything not announced, the just no, EA. So there's a lot of EA discussion in the chat right now.
Good grief, EA.
Sports ball.
Yes, we were talking about this before the show. It was just literally EA Sports Ball. Here's a nice, cute little indie game that we're going to promote because we're cool. Sports Ball. Battle Royale. And Sports Ball.
And more Sports Ball. So that's pretty much EA in a nutshell. So E3, Ian, the good, the bad, and the just plain no.
The good for me. I'm was really interested because I saw the Xbox conference live with a couple of people from Last Minute Continue. I caught up with the Ubisoft and the Nintendo conferences, and it was an interesting show. There was definitely some lacking. There was some big gaps, sort of personally, but we'll get onto that a bit later. The good things, obviously, Smash. Smash for the Switch just looks phenomenal, and the fact that they've been able to add so many characters, so much stuff into it, is really a testament to both the technical team and the fans for sort of being able to keep up interest in what was originally just a small little side title, just a simple mascot fighter, and it then just sort of evolved into something a lot bigger, a lot more dynamic, and also the fact you can use GameCube controllers on the new Smash.
Yes, that is true.
One of the best controllers made, and I'm really looking forward to digging out the old Wavebird and plugging that back in. Got to say, I am also looking forward to the new Spider-Man title for the PlayStation, because I caught that. I actually caught the videos and such of that today, and that just looks phenomenal. I'm a huge fan of the Arkham games, the Batman Arkham stuff, and this has the same feel, but it's also its own thing. And Spider-Man's always been one of my favorite comic book characters, so it's going to be really interesting to see how that all fits together and how they're going to add this new dynamic. Because the whole thing with Spider-Man is that you have core Spidey, Peter Parker, and then you have all these spin-offs all over the place. So you have Miles Morales, you have Spider-Gwen, you've got Spider-Woman, Jessica Drew, I think it's Jessica Drew or something like that. Then you've got Silk and all the other stuff, and that's sort of a really big thing. And it'd be great to see if this all could all be interacting with each other in a sort of big combined thing. But even so, if this lays the groundwork, then I can see so much cool stuff happening to Spider-Man, just like what Rocksteady did with Batman, and that just seems to be really That sort of really interests me. As for other things, I must admit I am looking forward to new Assassin's Creed, as well as Kingdom Hearts that James has already mentioned. And I think the actual sort of conference style things themselves, special stuff, gotta have a bit of love for Grant Kirkhope and his orchestral music for Mario plus Rabbids expansion, the Donkey Kong Adventure, with no Diddy Kong, may I add.
Okay, now, we've done the Throne of Games.
Wow,
Anyway.
the Throne of Games is over, but we're still attacking City Kong. I love it.
Speaking of Throne of Games, how's that for a great segue? For anyone that just joined in, we have a poll. If you want to vote for which current king you want to see be crowned for the Throne of Games for this episode, you have a choice between Diddy Kong or Miles Edgeworth. Feel free to vote. Sorry, Ian, you were saying.
No worries. And yeah, the other things that sort of really interested me was the new Devil May Cry game, because I thought that the series was dead. I thought after the reboot, the series was dead and buried. Pretty much, Bayonetta was the next iteration of Devil May Cry, because it had the same style, had the same sort of combat mechanics, because it just seemed like the natural evolution. But DMC5 looks superb, and I was completely sideswiped by it. And as some people may have guessed already, Kingdom Hearts, going to be a huge thing. And also the little teaser from the Xbox conference, particularly a certain property from way back when that I did mention way back at the beginning of the show, Battletoads.
Yes.
That's going to be a thing. So I'm interested by it. See if it's as hard as the Game Boy version. I have a feeling, possibly.
They might make it a little bit easier, maybe.
They have a health mode which just basically removes all obstacles. The bad was basically what was missing. There was a lot of focus on a couple of really big things, and then there were gaps. There were a few really big gaps. In particular from Nintendo. There was nothing for the 3DS, which I think is kind of indication to say where the company is taking its direction now, is that there's nothing big for the 3DS that was announced for E3, and that strikes me as really concerning, because I still play 3DS a lot, and there's still some really good stuff on there, but if that's going to move away, then what's the next iteration going to be? That's kind of my concern at the minute.
Yeah, most likely the Nintendo will probably be focusing more on the Switch, because the Switch is pretty much the big version of the 3DS without the 3D.
It's the two screens. It's the two screens made the DS and the 3DS such a big thing, and I don't know if it's like the whole clamshell thing. I'm a sucker for those kind of things. I still love the old sort of Razor flip phones. You know the ones from way back when. Because it's
One of them's in a museum. That came out when we were young. It's how in the museum.
But yeah, that was my biggest concern, and of course, a couple of the other things that were mentioned, and I have to say the things that were disappointing for me were the insistence of battle royale modes. So Battlefield had a battle royale, and it's just a case of, okay, yes, we know this is the thing at the minute. You don't have to force down our throats. No, just because they're parachuting doesn't mean to say it's a battle royale. No, just because they're on a bus. No, it's just it annoys me a little.
Wasn't really the same for when the zombies mode came out on Call of Duty.
And
every game after that seemed to just have like a zombies mode.
Yeah, pretty much the sort of whole follow the leader type thing. It's just sort of, it restricts creativity and sort of stops things developing in ways, and it's just sort of fitting things in just for the sake of it. Nick Rex has brought up a really good point, is that I agree, is that the only last game that's in development for the 3DS that I'm aware of at the minute is Persona Q2, which is the cross between Persona series and the Etrian Odyssey games. And I was concerned that there wasn't any mention of that either. At least not overtly. There were mentions of the Persona 3 and 5 rhythm games sort of in the Sega's booth. But there wasn't anything else for that title, and that's kind of, is it really going to be for the 3DS, or will it be for the Switch, or how's it things going to work? As for the Nopes, I think we can all just say nope-a-dope for EA's entire thing.
Pretty much.
And I think that my biggest gripe with the entire conference, the biggest thing, is Forza. Dry walls do not behave that way.
Forza Horizon 4.
Yeah, I mean, that looks like a fantastic game, but it was just the fact that the demo had them driving through dry walls, which are sort of walls sort of up on the sort of highlands and moors and such,
Yeah.
and they're sturdy as anything. They are pretty much indestructible. And it's just a case of, oh yeah, driving through them like we're driving through a wicket fence. It's just a case of, no, stones don't work like that. Stones don't work like that.
I remember seeing that last night. I'm like, it's a beautiful game, and it's like open world and everything. But yeah, when I saw like the car just like smashes through like the stuff, I'm like, hang on a minute, that the car would flip if it was driving at that speed.
That car would be turned over on its back and probably on fire. The
Yep.
driver most likely dead.
Before
And-
the hubcaps are stolen.
Oh yeah, the hubcaps get stolen as well. And Mr. Bonato Ein says, "We're not British enough." Well, I love the fact when they were showing like you could have all the seasons and like in this game. Let's go to autumn. Yeah, great. That's perfect. Let's go to winter. Yeah, snow in Scotland, that's fine. But if it's like snow in like the coastal areas, that's weird. And it's like
Basically, if they wanted it to be true British weather, it would just be spring, drizzle,
drizzle.
summer, drizzle, autumn, slightly harder drizzle, winter.
The
Wait,
one just
where's winter? Oh
Yeah.
no, winter was the drizzle.
Yeah.
Did you not notice it? It got a little harder.
We're
By the way,
just-
spring.
yeah.
The weather effect. They should name the weather effect. Do you want British weather, otherwise known as it rained for 40 days and 40 nights? It's still the best summer we ever had.
Yeah, it's pretty much just like
We-
you could play in all the seasons where it just rains. Oh look, there's one day of sunshine and then it rains again.
And then 4 weeks of torrential rain over to Britain.
And that's why I moved to Canada.
Yeah, you just replaced it with snow.
No, well, in the winter, over here on the west coast, when it's sunny, it stays sunny. And it's quite warm as well. Goodness gracious. So, for me, I mean, Brian, who just has jumped into the chat as well, says tally ho to you. Hopefully you're having a very, very good day. Says, hey Andy and James, do you like Call of Duty and what's your favourite COD game or any COD Black Ops game? I do like COD. We could talk about that in a future show. I think we'll do that. We'll consider adding on that. Right now, we're just going to quickly talk about E3. So for me, the good things about it was, so I managed to watch the Sony press conference. I managed to watch the Ubisoft press conference. Saw a bit of the Nintendo press conference and a bit of the Microsoft one. So honestly, there's a few games that I'm like really wanting to get. One game is going to be Starlink Battle for Atlantis, which is an Ubisoft game. It looks really, really good, really, really decent. And also the simple fact is I'm getting it on the Switch because there is going to be a Star Fox. Star Fox is going to be in the game. It's an exclusive for the Switch, and you can get an R-Wing and a Star Fox figurine with that as well with the pre-order. So it's kind of just like anything with Star Fox in, you pretty much is a case of take my money. So definitely looking forward to that. I'd say Ubisoft did a very good conference, I have to say. Ubisoft, I feel like out of everything, I feel like Ubisoft, I think, might have won it. I mean, you got Bethesda as well, because they've got some really, really good games coming out. In, say, Fallout 76, and there's some other games which I'm going to be, I'll discuss as well. But yeah, Starlink Battle for Atlas for Ubisoft. You've got Skull and Bones, something that Ein talked about as well in the chat. Let's see. I, for one, look forward to Devil May Cry 5, AC Odyssey, Ultimate, Spyro Regenerated, Kingdom Hearts 3, Skull and Bone, in the far off distance, Elder Scrolls 6. But yeah, Skull and Bones, I saw that. That looks absolutely tremendous. And what I've been told is it's using the same mechanics as what it is from the Assassin's Creed boating like style of gameplay. So it's
love that part of it.
so they've decided to make use that and put it in its own game, which is like it's tremendous and it looks so good. And you could be able to it's a thing of where you can you go and face ships that have so much good loot, gold and stuff, and you can take over and just steal all the loot. Great. And all of a sudden, another enemy ship, but a bigger, badder ship comes over to try and, destroy you. And you can call in your friends. You can call in friends who will then help you. But it's a case of, they say, your bestest friends can also be your greatest enemies. Because it's in the pirate world, it's a dog-eat-dog world. So it's a case of just, you can have friends. It's like if, for example, me, you, Ian, and James, we all play the game and we're let's take off this brigadier ship and try and get all the loot. Yeah, great, we did it. And then all of a sudden Ian comes out of nowhere and sinks me and steals my gold and then just goes off in the distance. That can
Andy,
happen.
come on.
I wouldn't do
if
such a
anyone's
thing.
going to shoot you, it's going to be me.
I wouldn't do such a thing. I would steal your boat and kick you off on a desert island.
Still same thing. But
Or
the thing is,
actually just
best friends
circle
can be
round
greatest
the island.
enemies. What?
Or get Andy, throw him onto a desert island, and just circle him. Just so your cannon just points at him. Dad's back.
See,
Hello and welcome to Desert Island Discs, in which a stranded pirate gets to talk all about his herniated discs after being thrown out onto the landing.
pretty much. So yeah, definitely looking forward to the Skull and Bones. What other games was there? You got The Last of Us Part 2, which looks really, really good. Really, really good indeed. Definitely going to be buying that for sure, with the whole cutscene concept and actually looking at the gameplay as well. Tremendous. So I'm very excited for that. Again, yeah, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, having every character from the that were in any of the games past games that coming back is absolutely amazing. So yeah, be interesting to see how that goes as well. With regards to Bethesda, you've got Fallout 76, which is looks gorgeous, and I think they said as well, if I recall, that it's going to be all online. So it's you could be roaming around in the old world, and all of a sudden you can see people just doing their own thing, which is really great to see. And you've also got Elder Scrolls 6, that totally took me by surprise. I wasn't actually expecting that, and I found out about it when I was going into downtown Vancouver, and I was at a video game bar, and they were showing the Bethesda conference, and then all of a sudden I just look up and be like, wait, what the hell? It's Elder Scrolls 6, what? my life right now. It's this, so it's good to see that they've now, Skyrim, with all the ports and stuff that are happening with that game. It's a good game, really good game, but I think it's now time to move up to say.
Well, mind you, it was before they did announce the next iteration of Skyrim, which was the very special version, which wasn't it for the Alexa? Skyrim for Alexa or something like that.
I did hear something like that, yeah. Which
I think I've heard
it
that.
made me
as well.
laugh though, because when they were saying about putting different Skyrim on different places, and so in the future, the next E3, they'll say you can watch and play Skyrim on a microwave, and now they've got it on the Alexa, so they're not half out.
And she's yes, very special edition.
I'm waiting for it to be released for the Casio computer. Casio calculator, sorry.
Hey, I'm waiting for it to come out on the poker walker. That'll be great to see.
I'm waiting for it to come out on the Nokia brick.
What the 4430?
Yeah, the one that you. Although this one, you can probably chuck it at a dragon. The dragon will die. Your phone will be just.
It's sturdy enough for that.
Yeah, it's throw it at a dragon dies, but hey, the phone still works.
Your phone is still working. It's amazing.
Yes.
Hello. Have you been hit by a phone recently? You can be entitled to PPI insurance.
Yeah. entitlement to compensation. We take like 146% of the cards. One other thing as well that took me by surprise, Quake Champions. I'm like, saw that again, and I was like immediately like, oh my gosh, like was not expecting that at all. So Bethesda did a really, really good job, and yeah, there's quite a few good number of games that are out, which I'm considering like getting. Maybe not for pre-order, but maybe when when they come out and I have some money. As you said as well, Ian, Spider-Man, and seeing the playthrough of that, it looks honestly tremendous. And again, you say it's kind of like similar to like the Arkham games, which it does in a way, but it's its own thing. And the one thing that I like about it with Insomniac Games, when they were talking about it after the conference, they said they asked their fans, they said what do you want to see in the Spider-Man game? Like what is it that you want to see come out of it? And the one thing that they got a lot from was we want this to be like an Insomniac game. That's all we want. We want this to be like your own unique game. And even though it is Spider-Man, Spider-Man has its own different other games from the past. But to hear that and to see how it plans out and plays, it kind of does. It's Spider-Man, but with an Insomniac intake to it. And Insomniac they've done Spider Dragon, they've done Sunset Overdrive, they've done many other games, and every other game that they've made, it's its own original unique thing. So with Spider-Man, I'm looking forward to seeing how that's going to pan out and how it is going to be its own unique style of game.
I mean, we've got that already with. Sorry about that. That already with the bits that was sort of already announced for the videos, because it did feel like an Insomniac game. The writing was very Insomniac-esque, and you had Yuri Lowenthal voice Spider-Man. Oh, I believe it was Yuri Lowenthal because he sounded very familiar to people like Yosuke from Persona 4 and the Prince of Persia from that trilogy. And it was just a case of, this feels Insomniac. This feels like Spider-Man. This feels right.
It's just looking at it, it just looks like you can tell it's not like your run-of-the-mill Spider-Man game like what it is in the past. It's it looks like to be its own unique thing. So I'm very looking forward to actually when the game comes out, I'm definitely going to be buying it. I'm definitely going to be giving it a try and seeing how it goes. The bad stuff, the only thing I can think of, I mean, Nintendo, with Smash Bros, that's great, but it's that's pretty much, it's just Smash and also Super Mario Party. Those were the only big things that I heard about it. All the other games that came, it's you got some other titles as well, but I feel like Nintendo didn't really had a strong E3 with that. I mean, one thing with Super Mario Party is they do have online capability, but the only thing for online, is what I've been told, is that it's only for the mini games. It's not for an actual board.
That's a bit of a bad thing. You need to have online multiplayer for the actual board games, just so you can rage at people over the internet because they managed to roll just enough to get the final star from under your nose.
Yeah, exactly. You need that. That's, I mean, they're getting there slowly, I would say, but it's still a thing where everyone is like, we want an online Mario Party game. Can you give this to us? You have the technology, you have the way to do it, but it's just they're just teasing us. So maybe the next Mario Party game might be online. Just gotta hope for the best.
Maybe if it gets an update, it might do that.
Who knows? You just have to wait and see on that. One thing I would say about bad is the Sony press conference. Now, there was some good games on there. I managed to watch this live, and it was good to some extent, but I don't feel it wasn't as strong. It wasn't a strong E3 for Sony, unlike the previous ones that they've had. I was very disappointed as well, because I thought, seeing as, the new Spyro, the United trilogy coming out, we got a release date for September, and it was out on E3 for people to play. I was hoping that maybe they were going to put maybe a little thing on there just to show more stuff. Just because it's Spyro. It originally came out on PlayStation, so give Spyro some love. But fortunately didn't see that, so I was like, I was a little bit sad about that. But other stuff was good, but it just felt, I don't know, just they tried their best with it, with the beginning of like when they said like, oh yes, well welcome everyone to church, because it's all like in this like churchy-esque like theatre that they're in, and it kind of got me. Everyone was like questioning about it, and I could probably tell that the audience were like, what the hell's going on? Because I was like, Sony, are you okay? Why are you saying welcome to church? And then of course it's like, once they get into the gameplay, there's a scene in the church for The Last of Us Part 2, so they kick things off with that. So I thought, okay, that makes more sense. And then all of a sudden, everyone then, whilst that was happening, when they had the break, everyone then moved over to the next theatre to go on, continue on with the conference. Again, there were some good games on there, but I just felt like there wasn't really like it wasn't a strong one from Sony. Yes, you got, I say, Last of Us Part 2 and Spider-Man, some many other good titles as well. But I just felt like it wasn't the strong point for them for this year.
I think it might be different next year, because there's rumors talking about Sony making the PlayStation 5 now, aren't they? So they'll probably introduce that into next year's E3, and then they'll just blow the whole thing up.
Yeah.
Well, Microsoft did tease their new console right at the end of the conference before it got hacked, and they did the final promo, which was Cyberpunk 2077, I believe it was.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's obviously at this time of year, at this time of the console cycle, is that things are switching up. And Nintendo played their hand early with the Switch, which they needed to because the Wii U just didn't perform. So it'll be interesting to see what Sony and Microsoft do aside from going, ooh, pretty graphics.
Exactly. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see like what happens for next year's E3. I feel like I felt like this E3, it was good, but you know, it wasn't a very strong one. But I'm thinking next year the guns are going to come out. There's going to be a lot of like big things that are going to be happening. So really look forward to next year's one. Fingers crossed. And yeah, the just plain nope. EA. Cause EA. That's all I gotta say. FIFA 19.
I love the fact.
Yeah.
I love the fact our excuses is EA. Why? Just because it's EA.
And everyone,
like,
everyone's like, nope, that's totally understandable. And also, the fact because that the president of EA is the same bloody full name as me. So of course I get memed, and it's like, god damn it.
Wait, you're not the president of EA?
Shockingly enough, I'm not. And even if I did, if I was, I'd resign on the spot. It's like...
one other thing I did remember seeing coming out was the new Switch Pokemon game.
Let's go Pikachu, let's go Eevee.
That's interesting.
I'm honestly looking forward to it, to be honest. I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's an easy version of like the updated Kanto, but it's like, you know what? They've added like a few extra things to it, and like there's different ways in order to play. I'm looking forward to it. I would like to give it a go, and I want to see like how they will do with this remake. So there's like 50-50 on here with the new Pokemon game. I'm looking forward to it. I'm gonna give it a go.
I'm really looking forward to it. I think I'm definitely gonna go buy it when it comes out because it just looks amazing. I'm a big Kanto fan anyway, so.
Indeed, everyone loves the Kanto region. What about you, Win?
Yeah, it seems interesting enough. Pokemon games, I've been a bit hit and miss with lately, and I didn't really get into Pokemon Go as much as others. But this one, looks interesting. I'll give it a go when it's out and see what it's all about. And interesting.
Yeah. So apparently Nick goes, "Let's go, ew," and Edge is like, "I would like it if it wasn't Kanto again." And Nick just wants a new battle system. Well, I mean, like, you know, we've got this remake. I mean, maybe the next Pokemon game that comes out on the Switch will probably be something completely different. So
I don't know. There's something about the turn-based system of the Pokemon games that just makes it endearing to me. It just sort of seems like, it's simple, but it's really effective, and you can plan stuff accordingly, and it doesn't feel like a slog. It doesn't feel as though you have to prep everything beforehand. It just you have to plan gambits or predetermined stuff, and you don't mash the the buttons accordingly. You have a little bit of strategy behind it all, which I don't know. I don't know. That's probably the RPG fan in me sort of still saying, menus, go!
I'm still pissed off at the fact with Pokemon is the fact that your opponent can be and you still miss.
Yeah, it could be sleeping and you still miss.
I still miss. I don't know how the hell that works, but
that's the beauty
Wind.
of Pokemon for you.
The winds can blow the bubble beam away.
Yep.
damn you, Bubble Beam.
It's like, Squirtle, use Bubble Beam. It's quite windy out. Bubbles go flying all over the place. It's like, god damn it. So yes, that's what we say. So let's go for a quick conclusion, shall we? So, and then we'll get on with Ian's songs for the next music bit. So, James, E3, good, bad, just plain nope. What would you go for?
Good will be the new Fallout game. Bad will be the. I forgot what it was now. That's annoying. Bad would be the Mario Party. Plain nope is going to be Fortnite on the Switch.
Fair dues, fair dues. Ian, good, bad, just plain nope.
Good. Quite a lot to choose from, but certain picks being Smash Brothers, Devil May Cry 5, Kingdom Hearts 3, and the PlayStation Spider-Man. The bad, lack of diversity for some of the titles. Well, lack of diversity from the Nintendo side of things, in particular the lack of 3DS stuff. And the nope, walls don't work like that.
Hashtag walls don't work like that.
Yeah. Let the guys know who made Forza Horizon 4 know that. They're British, for God's sake. They should know this. Goodness. And for me, the good, yeah, definitely, I'd say, I forgot to mention Kingdom Hearts 3, definitely for sure. Starlink Battle for Atlas, definitely going to be buying because it looks good. And also Star Fox is in it, so hey. You got Smash Bros, you got Marvel Spider-Man. Forgot to mention as well, you got Skull and Bones, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Now, for me, I was a kind of bit like, oh god, okay. And everyone like, this is going to be interesting to see. And also people were making fun of it because it's like, oh hey, it's Odyssey, so insert Mario Odyssey theme here and all that stuff. But after seeing the Ubisoft conference and seeing what it looks like it's totally like changing things with like the style of like the Assassin's Creed games. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how that pans out, and the fact that you can now pick, it's multiple characters, so you can pick like 2 characters, and with that character you then just stick with them throughout the whole game. So that's really awesome to see. So yeah, that as well. The bad, I would say the Sony press conference, it was good, but it just wasn't as strong as I thought it would like it to be. Again, with Nintendo, it just felt like, the 2 good like conferences, which I really enjoyed watching, just didn't have a very good strong point. So hopefully next year it'll come out bigger, better than ever. But we'll just have to wait and see. And just to play nope, EA, because yeah, it's the same thing over and over again. With some added extras, but mostly it's the same stuff over and over again.
And loot boxes.
And loot boxes, yeah. Can't forget the loot boxes. Iron says, I'd want it for Pokemon Let's Go if it wasn't a spin-off to go with Go. I mean,
Well, Pokemon Go is still popular. It's not as big as it was when it was first launched, but people still play it. Yeah. I had there was a big event that happened yesterday, and I had to there was people sort of hanging around with all their phones out because there was a big Pokemon event going on at that point. It was just a case of, okay, this is still a thing. It may not be the big cultural zeitgeist that it was when it was first released, but it's still popular. So there's still an audience for that.
True.
In my opinion.
It is. It's like it's not as I say, not as popular as it was like back when it first came out, but it's still like, people still play it, people still enjoy it. I need to get back into it at some point. I really need to. It's one thing I need to do. And Nick goes, "Where's playable Mario in Assassin's Creed Odyssey?"
Free DLC to say thank you for Mario and Rabbids.
Yes, exactly. There you go. On that note now, we're going to go for our final music break until we get to our third and final topic, and then we have the Throne of Games results as well. These songs have been selected by our good friend and special guest of the show, Ian, aka TheRandomGenius. So Ian, these songs that you have picked, why did you pick these songs for the show?
Okay, so I could have picked so much for these two choices. There was just so much to pick from. I am a huge fan of video game soundtracks, and I could have picked stuff like stuff from Banjo-Kazooie. I could have picked stuff from Crypt of the Necrodancer, all sorts really. But in the end, I went up with two that I sort of thought was sort of really strong. The first one is Positive Force from the letter V 6 times, or VVVVVV, a really, really cool indie game by Terry Kavanagh. It's can be completed fairly quickly. It's tough but fair. It's got sort of a whole sort of challenges with its platforming and such. But the entire soundtrack for that game is just superb. It's very sort of chiptune-esque, sort of very sort of retro, but it has so many sort of different layers and sort of iterations of the tracks, and I could have picked any of them. But in the end, I went for Positive Force, which is just my favorite track in the entire game, and just because it's just so dynamic and fast and enjoyable. And the second one, which would probably come as no surprise to anyone, that it comes from a Persona game. In specific, Persona 5. And this is Rivers in the Desert. And it's just a case of the entire Persona soundtrack is completely perfect. And it was just a case of as soon as you booted up the game, you got the title track, Get On, Get Out there. And that was just, okay, yeah, that set the mood. And then you had Beneath the Mask, which is the melodial soliloquy, which is done sort of during the rainy days and sort of off days, and that fitted in. And it was just a case of every single track worked. And then Rivers in the Desert played. And for that moment, it was just a case of, wow, this is the thing. This has just done something phenomenal at this point in the game. And the best thing was that at that point, it was just the instrumental. The full track doesn't play until a later point, and you just go, oh, now things have got serious. And I just love that progressional soundtrack of music. The whole idea that soundtracks evolve as time goes on, and it just was superb. And fell in love with it as soon as I heard it. It is probably my favorite track from the entire game. It's probably my favorite track at this moment in time. So yeah, Persona 5, Rivers in the Desert, and letter V 6 times, Positive Force.
Okay, so thank you very much indeed for that in. So yeah, as I say, let's kick things off right now. Starting off with letter V 6 times, aka VVVVV with Positive Force. Let's get replaying right now. And as I say, you're listening in to the Tally Ho Show with me, Andy.
And me, James.
And we have Ian, aka the Random Genius, as our special guest for today. So this is a perfect time to get some refreshments, grab some snacks, and enjoy these tunes. And we'll be back in just a little bit.
are 3 things you can do to obtain a happy, healthy life. Eat your 5 fruit and veg a day, explore the world, and listen to the Tally Ho Show podcast with Andy and James. The first 2 are optional.
And I've got to make my decision. This time could be my moment. Is this a mirage or a chance to fulfill my mission? A river in a dry land, the left is in a lost land, a heartbeat for a demon, a wedge in a change land. I'm giving the balance, but I'm standing on razor's edge now. Real quick, all my life is over. One strike just a pain, then I'm out of his field of vision. Don't ask why I'm ready, but I'm ready to strike him down now. I just saw the new stars, there's no time for indecision. The bosses of greed and fear, yeah. Don't ask why I'm ready, but I'm ready to take them down now. The time for a new start is constantly drawing nearer. A river in a dry land, the left is in a lost hand. When the hope of new beginnings burned out feet, now we needed a heartbeat for demon, oasis in a siege land. Remind us from here, but
And welcome back, everyone. So yeah, those were the 2 songs that Ian, aka the Random Genius, picked for his music batch. What we just had on was Persona 5 Rivers in the Desert, really epic tune there. And then from VVVVVV, that was Positive Force. Now it's time to go on to our third and final topic, and for this one, it's Ian's topic. So Ian, what topic have you given us for the show today?
Thank you, Andy. Basically, something that sort of really interests me is the whole idea behind gaming crossovers. Is that sort of how different companies can come together and just sort of think, okay, let's just see where this goes. And it's just the whole idea of gaming crossovers. So this is my question to both of you and to the chat. Video game crossovers, what are the good ones? Which are the ones that need a bit more work? Which ones are you really think should work? And sort of potential pipe dreams and whole sort of ideas like that.
Okay, so James, would you like to start things off? Or?
I can start one up. I like the game of crossovers. Some of them have got some fantastic ones. The ones that really stick out for me, the main one, Professor Layton, the Phoenix Wright trilogy. The actual game itself. I know what I meant.
There might be a trilogy in the future.
Hopefully, I hope so. I loved about with Professor Layton because you had that bit of the puzzles, and then you could go straight into a courtroom. I love Professor Layton and Phoenix Wright games, so having them both together in the same game was just brilliant, and I loved it. The Super Smash Bros. As well is probably one that needs to be mentioned because that was probably one of the main ones that really started a whole big crossover sort of thing with all the characters from one certain franchise. And the main one, another one that really sticks out, and I love playing it because just how ludicrous and absolutely crazy it would get, was Lego Dimensions.
Yes, that was a thing.
Yeah, it did seem. I thought it was quite an odd sort of start to it, but the more I looked at it, the more like when they were selecting certain characters, and I thought, actually, this won't be too bad. I would quite like the idea of this. And then they finally brought out Doctor Who and Harry Potter, and I was more convinced to buy it. And then by the time I bought it, I realised they were bringing out Sonic the Hedgehog one. I was like, yep, this is sold me straight away. And it's just funny because at one certain point I remember, I was Sonic the Hedgehog flying a TARDIS around Hogwarts. And you can't get more crazy than that if you wanted.
True, yes. Unless you want to have a Jurassic Park raptor just sort of riding on the top of the TARDIS as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Just make things more exciting with that.
Make things incredibly odd, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
What would your bad ones be, James? Might need it improving.
Actually, Nick Rex has kind of beat me to it. The Spyro and Crash crossover one that they had. I remember that on the Game Boy Advance. And it was just.
Yeah, that was a thing.
Yep.
That was a thing that existed for a time.
Yeah, although I don't think a lot of people would like to be reminded of it. Definitely.
No. It was like Spyro and Crash. Moving on.
Yeah, Crash, and let's not talk about.
Oh goodness.
That's definitely the one that sticks out for me, really, in regards to bad crossovers. I'm sure there's probably more, but I can't really remember it. In regards to the ones I'd like to see, I haven't really thought about it, if I'm honest. I mean, it seems a bit stupid, but I can't think of a crossover I'd like to see. But I'm sure when you guys talk, I'll probably have a better idea.
Okay. Well,
Interesting.
Yeah, for me, good crossover. I mean, you got the Project Cross Zone. With Namco, Capcom, and Sega teaming up with their characters from their big franchises coming into a game, which was absolutely insane to see.
Basically, it was a fanfic writer's absolute dream.
Wet dream.
Pretty much, yeah. And hey, it worked tremendously well. I played the demo when it came out. I played a little bit of the game. I haven't fully completed it yet, but I managed to play like bits of like how you do like the fighting mechanics and style of it, and how things work when you have like specific characters coming in, from the different franchises teaming up and actually having like these awesome like combo moves and stuff. It's just absolutely amazing and tremendous to see. So much so that they had a sequel. Project Cross Zone 2.
I was going to mention that as one of my choices. And yeah, Project Cross Zone and Project Cross Zone 2 are pretty much sort of the case of, okay, here are all these gaming franchises. Let's see how we can get them to work. And it's just a case of, yes, this is awesome. This is absolutely ridiculous and the story makes no sense, but this is awesome.
Exactly.
I'm totally taken with the concept of it, and it's just a case of, I mean, who doesn't want to see X from Mega Man fighting alongside Chris Redfield, fighting alongside tons of other characters, and yeah, the second one just is awesome because it just takes that and lifts it up higher. So you have even more characters involved. You have even more sort of slight tweaks to the combat system, which make it a lot better in my opinion. And you have the canonical game explanation that Phoenix Wright knows Goro Majima and has in fact successfully defended him in court once. That is
now canon, and it's like, what do you think will happen with that? And it's like, what do you think will happen with that? It's like, you don't know. So yeah, definitely that for sure. As I'd say, that would be great because it just works so well. Bad. We do, as I say, we had Spyro and Crash. The Game Boy Advance games, I never played them. I watched playthroughs of them, and I'm glad I didn't play those games because it's just so strange. I mean, yeah, it's a good concept. It's like, that would be really, really awesome. Like, it's a good concept. It's like, what would happen if Crash went to Spyro's world? What would happen if Spyro went to Crash's world? And just how things would ensue. So in a way, it's an idea that I think a lot of people had, because it's like you had Crash and Spyro on the PlayStation, and they had like the friendly rivalry between the two, and it was like, with a Naughty Dog and Insomniac. So it's like, you think it could work really well, but then it's on the Game Boy Advance, so of course it didn't work very well. One other thing as well, one bad crossover for me, it's kind of 50-50 because it was awesome to see, but how it got showcased. I mean, showcasing was fine. It's just when the games came out and they released, it didn't. Not as much as excitement as I thought it was going to be, and that is Mario and Sonic. When Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. Sorry, James, are you going to say something?
No, I was about to say, I think you're talking about Sonic and Mario, aren't you?
Yes, indeed, I am. Yeah, Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Game Series. First time I heard about these games coming out was when I was I forget what it was on Bravo TV way back when, but it was a gaming review TV show, and that's where I got all my daily doses of all the new games coming out and everything. And they were talking about Mario and Sonic, and it was for me, I was like, oh my god, this is two really big gaming characters, gaming mascots that have duked it out in the 90s just to see who would become the supreme mascot. They are now teaming up together to try, just for the Olympics, and it was I was really excited about it. But when the game came out, yeah, it's a fun game. The games are very enjoyable to play and everything, but the reception wasn't that strong for it, if I'm completely honest. And I felt like maybe more could have done better with it. I do know that they tried to change things up a bit, especially when Mario and Sonic Olympic Games of London 2012 came out, especially on the 3DS. They decided to make a story mode out of that, which I haven't played. I haven't played the 3DS version of the game. I've again seen playthroughs. Looks interesting. It's nice to see that they try and change things around, but again, it's kind of just I don't know. It just wasn't really a strong point for me. I don't know if they're going to be making any more Mario and Sonic games, because I know that I think Nintendo are now focusing on the Mario characters having their own sporting events and stuff. So I think that might be all dead and buried now. But for crossovers I like to see. Again, that's what Nick says. Spyro and Crash, one that isn't like the Game Boy games. I mean, I wouldn't mind like a main console like crossover between those two, because maybe that's what it needed. Maybe Spyro and Crash maybe needed a crossover main platforming game on like say on PlayStation or on like Nintendo Switch or Xbox. I mean, something like that could work. Handheld Game Boy it just didn't work at all. So maybe try it again. I would like to see, especially with like the HD remakes now been released. You know, maybe I doubt it would ever happen, but you just never know. But yeah, something like that would be interesting to see. Yeah, that's something that's pretty much for me really of what I would go for. Ein says Super Smash Bros. Ultimate and Knuckles featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series. Yeah. And
you do realise you've said the name of the game title wrong. It's Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Golden FES FES Full-Bodied Ultimate Edition for the 3DS and Knuckles featuring Dante from Devil May Cry.
Sorry, my bad. Of course, I knew I'd forgotten something. And Nick correct. Edge says Fortnite / Animal Crossing, and everyone wants an Animal Crossing battle royale. Where Tom Nook is the John Wick. Tom Nook is the John Wick.
It's just a case of sort of everyone must get the bells, get the bells, get the bells.
Yes.
Whilst Tom Nook's renovations just slowly circle in.
Yeah. It's just like, you know, in Fortnite there's a golden rule: never trust a John Wick. If there is an Animal Crossing battle royale game, the golden rule is never trust a Tom Nook. And Nick says Animal Crossing Viva Pinata crossover.
I can see those working.
I could see that working too, actually. I mean, that would be pretty awesome to see. Ian, your gaming crossovers, good ones that could be improved on, and ones you'd like to see.
So, as mentioned before, I loved Project Cross Zone and its sequel. I think they're absolutely fantastic and sort of really good examples of how to do crossovers, that kind of thing. Smash Brothers, again, huge epic crossover from different games within a single company, and then expanded into different characters from different game series completely, including stuff that you wouldn't normally see on Nintendo consoles. I mean, heck, Solid Snake. Would you have expected him to have appeared in Smash Brothers?
No. Definitely not.
Particularly seeing as he only technically there's about 2 or 3 games that Snake was on Nintendo consoles.
He was on the NES. He was on was it
on the NES,
Metal Gear?
The game, the original Metal Gear was on the MSX. Let's not split hairs about that. But there was the Game Boy Metal Gear game, and then there was the GameCube remake of MGS1. So to take sort of a couple of titles and then just suddenly put a Snake in was phenomenal, and more so Cloud, because of course the only way people would have been played or seen Cloud on a Nintendo console, solely Nintendo, would have probably been from Chain of Memories Kingdom Hearts. But that was a phenomenal thing. And I must admit, I love Mario & Rabbids, which is, it just shouldn't work. The pinnacle of platforming Mario with the rabbits who hadn't been seen for many years, both of them combined together. You wouldn't think that they would work, yet it's so good. It's the XCOM game that fits perfectly with the Switch. It's family-friendly turn-based game, which is perfect for Nintendo. It's got something to keep people interested who like stuff like XCOM and Fire Emblem, and yeah, it just hit the note perfectly. And I love the game, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens next. And the crossovers I love are not purely defined by the companies themselves. The fans also create their own crossovers per se, and the one I've kind of gotten into is I take it everyone has heard of the randomizers, the whole idea where items are switched over in the games in stuff like Legend of Zelda.
Indeed. So
the first chest isn't what you expect it to be. They've now released a version of it where it's Link to the Past crossed over with Super Metroid with all the items between the games swapped over. So you can have items from Metroid in either the Metroid game or in Link to the Past. You've got Link to the Past items in either Link to the Past or Metroid. And it's those kind of fan-based crossovers that I also enjoy as well. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. And if you haven't seen one of those runs or a race of that, do yourself a favor and look it up. It's about 4 hours per run because, of course, you're clearing 2 games, but it's just so much fun to watch. In terms of bad crossovers, I think the one that everyone has mentioned is the Crash Spyro crossover. I think that was just a mistake of monumental proportions. But not so much a series that had went wrong, but a crossover that just went badly because of office politics, more or less, was Marvel v Capcom Infinite. I enjoyed Marvel v Capcom 3, but Infinite just killed it. Infinite was just done in such a bad way that it was just it was just a case of you don't know what to do with these characters. You don't know how all this works. And that was just a case of oh, we're doing crossovers because we can, rather than no, think about it. These characters need to have some sort of agency and such rather than just sort of wandering around. And if you're going to have them wandering around doing weird and stupid stuff, make it self-aware, make them aware that this. Don't just play it serious. That sort of didn't work with me.
We apologize for the interruption to your regularly scheduled Tally-Ho show. Unfortunately, due to technical problems, the show has hit a minor issue. Or 5. We will be back with you as soon as possible. You are currently in position 163 in the queue. We expect the show to be back between 1 to 2 weeks. Please hold for... Oh, really? Well, it seems Andy got his bike generator working, and James has found some more 50p pieces to put in the meter. As such, we now return you to the Tally-Ho show.
Okay, Ian, so you talked about your good crossovers, you talked about the bad crossovers. So what are the crossovers that you really would like to see in video game?
Well, I did mention to it earlier on. That was actually Ace Attorney and Yakuza. There was an offhand comment made in Project Cross Zone in which Phoenix Wright successfully defended Goro Majima in court. You know, the renowned Yakuza criminal and all-around meme lord. And it's just a case of that would actually work quite well. You could have Phoenix and co do the investigative sort of work with the sort of along with the jury side of things, and then you've got sort of the more sort of on the ground sort of more sort of action-oriented stuff with the Kiryu, and that would probably work quite well. Just to see the different mesh of styles and sort of say, yeah, these are 2 completely different groups working together for a common goal because there's something huge going down, and I think that would be a huge boon for both fan bases.
Definitely. I mean, that would be like a really interesting crossover. I would like to see, like Yakuza and Ace Attorney, as you say, like, you know, they do know each other, like as you said, with the story, especially in Project Cross Zone, when they do mention each other. So I mean, it's like that would be interesting to see. Like, I mean, who knows? Like Sega and Capcom might decide to do that in the future. I mean,
Considering the first time you've had Phoenix Wright's already done its crossover with Professor Layton and it's worked perfectly, it would be so much surprised that another Phoenix Wright crossover would be pretty decent.
Can you imagine though, like Phoenix Wright Yakuza, and you see the Yakuza characters in like the Phoenix Wright style, like graphic style.
Oh, crumbs! Yeah, just Majima just being Majima in the court, and it's just a case of, can someone please control the weird man in the leopard skin coat? Who weirdly doesn't have a shirt.
Oh god, I can picture that now in my head. By the end of the third day, the judge has just given up.
So yes, there's that. Something I also had a quick sort of think of, which would probably be quite interesting, would be something like XCOM and Metroid.
Oh.
You know, there's this sort of turn-based strategy of the XCOM games, much like Mario and Rabbids, or something like that, but with the space pirates and sort of all the creatures from Zeebs and SR388, with Metroids and such, and that would actually work quite well. Perhaps if they want to go slightly more down the Rabbids route, Metroid and Rabbids, and it's just a case of here's these giant parasitic jellyfishes with giant fluffy bunny ears.
I mean,
That sounds funny.
That does. And now you mention it with like an XCOM/Metroid game, I mean, again, that would work. I mean, if we're going on to like the XCOM like crossover thing, I wouldn't mind seeing like, again, because I'm a massive fan for this, Star Fox with XCOM.
Yes, that would actually work, or perhaps Star Fox with some sort of RTS style game.
Yeah, I mean that would work pretty well, and then you can actually have like the allies between Star Fox and Star Wolf again, much like you saw it in Star Fox Assault, that you have like all the characters, you know, that once fought each other have now got to team up in order to like save the Lilac system and stuff from a new threat. That could probably work really well.
New threat that is the time traveling Rabbids.
Oh my god. Oh no. Mario plus Rabbids. You've seen Mario plus Rabbids. You've seen Donkey Kong plus Rabbids. Now get ready for Star Fox plus Rabbids. It's like, it'll be a cross between being very serious but at the same time just absolute random.
Just sort of very serious Star Fox.
In space, nobody hears your rabbits.
In space, nobody hears you.
Yeah, oh god. See, and the funny thing is as well is like Pete, the Rabbid Peach, because she cosplays characters, so she can cosplay Crystal. See, and it'll just be so weird. Like, my goodness.
I also feel like we're getting a lot of, if this does happen, we'll be giving cosplayers a hell of a lot of ideas and room to sort of pull that off.
See, all we gotta do, well, I mean, you know, because Ubisoft's like, you know, linked up with Star Fox, for, you know, with one of their other games, as we talked about in the E3 discussion. So we can ask Ubisoft, say, hey, make a Star Fox plus Rabbids game, give it to, you know, Miyamoto, and Miyamoto will be like, I like it, use it.
Well, considering the huge success that Mario and Rabbids is, it wouldn't surprise me that Nintendo would give Ubisoft some more licenses to work with.
Oh, definitely.
Because then it would be such a thing, and it wouldn't just be rehashing the Mario again and again. Because although that would be cool, it would just feel a bit samey.
Yeah.
If you have all these famous Nintendo franchises combined with the Rabbids, who, as we know, have their teleporting washing machine.
Yes.
That would actually work really well, and that would just be an entire span of things, which are just basically the Rabbids sending up stuff from that specific genre, or game series. So you'd have something like the very serious, dramatic, sort of ethereal, sort of Metroid-esque area, and then you'll just sort of undercut that with some of the pastiches and such from that genre, and sort of go through like the sunken ship in Super Metroid, and it's just a case of the Rabbids just flicking on and off the light switches.
Luigi's Mansion with Rabbits.
Oh my gosh. I didn't think of that. That would be interesting to see. That would be. I mean, yeah, when you say like, because the rabbits have like the teleportation, like teleporting washing machine. I mean, it's like it could work out pretty well. What they could do is like in the for future games, as opposed to like hashing out like the same like with Mario plus Rabbids, they go to like other Nintendo franchises. I mean, it's like you could see like a story plot made into that in a way. With like the Rabbids, it's like, oh, they went to the Mushroom Kingdom and now in like Donkey Kong's like territory, like where are they gonna go next? And then it's just like boom, they're all of a sudden, like say in Metroid or in Star Fox, or they're in Earthbound. It's like, I mean, Earthbound would be interesting.
Why stop at Nintendo? Maybe go over to Sega, because I'd love to see the Rabbits over the Sonic universe and see one of them becomes Super Rabbit.
I honestly thought you were going to say Rabbids Yakuza there.
Oh my god.
Oh my.
Wow.
That's
Majima Rabbit. There, I want to see that. I want to see a Majima Rabbit now.
Right, someone get Nintendo and the Rabbits on the phone. I think we are onto something here, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, I mean, Yakuza is somewhat on a Nintendo console in Japan only, because wasn't Yakuza on the Wii U? I think was it Yakuza 5 or Yakuza 0?
I don't know actually.
I heard something that it was good in Japan that Yakuza is on Nintendo on the Wii U. So I mean, you could say that maybe Yakuza plus Rabbids. Maybe it might be Japan only, but it would be.
I apologise for ruining everyone's concentration with this discussion.
Oh God, no! This is amazing. This is a great way we have come
up with some great ideas here.
Indeed. I think on that note now, let's go in with a conclusion with some of the stuff. So James, good crossovers, bad crossovers, ones you like to see?
Good crossovers was the Phoenix Wright, Professor Layton, and I really like the Sonic and Mario ones as well. Bad ones was of course the old GBA for Spyro and Crash Bandicoot. To be honest, ones we like to see, it's definitely what we've just discussed now, because I want to see the Rabbids and Sega.
Oh God, yeah, I think after talking about that, anything with Rabbids in, I think would be a win in my books. Bad, definitely for me, Mario and Sonic, and also Spyro and Crash. Mario and Sonic, I mean, yeah, they tried well, but I just think it just wasn't as strong as I thought it was going to be. And yeah, Ian, what were your ones? Good ones, bad ones, ones we like to see?
The good ones, obviously, I've mentioned before, Mario plus Rabbids, Smash Brothers, of course, the biggest Nintendo crossover. Mm-hmm. And also some of the fans' side stuff as well, such as The Legend of Zelda, Metroid, randomizer crossovers, which I'm really a huge fan of. It just shows that crossovers are not just limited to the big companies, the fans themselves can create some really inventive ones. The bad ones, as mentioned previously, Crash and Spyro. It's amazing that all three of us have listed this down as one of the worst crossovers that we've experienced.
I mean, as I say, for like, if it wasn't on the Game Boy Advance, if it was on like PlayStation or like third party, if it was on like next gen consoles, it would work. It would honestly work so well. I honestly think.
They probably would have put more effort into it as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, as I would say, maybe like now that with Spyro Trilogy and coming out, and you've got the Crash Trilogy, maybe they might do that. Maybe in the future, don't know, but that'd be really cool to see.
And pipe dreams, things I would love to see. I think we can basically sum this up as Rabbids, Yakuza, Phoenix Wright.
Oh God, Phoenix Wright plus Rabbids.
And my job here is done.
It'd just be like, objection.
The judge is standing there just going, did he say objection or
objection?
I don't know.
I don't know.
All I know is that one's holding a whip and it's looking decidedly edgy.
On that note, everyone, it's now time for this. It's time for the Throne of Games.
I love the fact
it's as if we planned this in advance.
I just started to like smooth onto that segue after the whipping. It's like, good time to doing what we need to do. So yeah, guys, as I say, it's now time for the Throne of Games. Thank you to everyone that did vote. So once I get I'll quickly try and grab the poll for this. Whilst I'm doing that, James, you want to discuss with what has happened throughout this event?
What, you mean as in the whole of the games, or just
Just
what's
this,
happening right now?
Just this episode of the Throne of Games.
Okay, so for those people who've just joined us in, we were taking on the Throne of Games, where King Diddy Kong was taken on by Miles Edgeworth from the Phoenix Wright saga. And basically, it was up to you guys to vote who should be our new or returning King of the Throne of Games. And as we said, this vote comes down to you guys. You get to vote on who wins, and whoever does goes on to next week's grand finale.
Interesting.
There's going to be something very special happening on episode 9 with the Throne of Games. So if you want to find out exactly what's going to happen and which character is going to be able to be in the said finale, just tune in to the next episode, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But we have the poll up now. We have the poll we got it all set. So I think we should do a dramatic drum roll, and then James, it's down to you to give us the results.
Okay, give me a second. I've got a good drum roll theme right here.
Perfect. Anxiously waiting now.
It's all about waiting. That's how you do it.
That's how you
I
do
swear,
it.
if
How
he's,
you get their attention.
I swear, if he's not using bongos, it's an opportunity missed.
I do.
Damn, sugar the bongos.
Damn it, James. You had one job.
I know, man. I have one job. Leave me alone. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, are we ready?
Do it.
Yeah.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the winner of the Throne of Games, Episode 8, is... The jury has found in favor of Miles Edgeworth. He is our winner.
Cue confetti falling from the ceiling as the gallery claps in admiration.
Absolutely. By 4 votes to 2 votes, Miles Edgeworth has claimed the Throne of Games. And again, our special guest has won on the Throne of Games. I think that's now 4-4, isn't that, Andy?
I think it is. We've had 4 guests on, and every single guest that have come on during this season, they have won.
I'm glad I wasn't the one to buck the trend.
Well, we thought 4th time lucky, but obviously it wasn't. Damn it, Andy, we had one job.
We had one job, and we can't seem to do it. So, however,
It's because you mentioned card games. Given your history with card games, I thought that was something you'd be steering away from.
well, unfortunately, that wasn't the case. But yes, congratulations to Ian and to Miles Edgeworth, who is now our new king of the Throne of Games. So we have
Hail Miles.
all hail Miles, but because that means he is the king, he is now entered into the, as I like to call it, the final showdown of the Throne of Games.
Ooh, yes it is.
In order to find out exactly what it is we're going to be doing for this final showdown, you're going to have to tune in to the next episode of the Tally Ho Show, which is going to be on Sunday, July 8th. Sunday, July 8th is when we are going to be going live next time with the Tally Ho Show. So hopefully you can be able to come by, listen in then, and find out exactly what's going to happen and what's gonna happen with the Throne of Games, pretty much. We won't get into too much detail. We'll only get into too much detail once the show starts. I'll put it in a bit of a suspense, so to say. It's a good idea. But yeah, oh, sorry, James, what were you gonna say?
No, I was going to say, if you do.
Fair enough. But I think on that note, that is it. That is the end of the show. We have episode 8 is well and truly completed. So,
And I'm very happy that nothing happened during the show that stops us from doing it.
totally not. But no.
You have been
Yes.
listening to a Tally Ho show and has been absolutely uninterrupted at any time whatsoever.
I think I heard the 5-minute pilot. I think that went well without a hitch.
Yeah. Oh god. Anyway, my thanks to, of course, is to everyone that has tuned in to the show, whether they listen to the show live or if you're listening to this on the podcast, whether it's on SoundCloud or iTunes, hopefully you enjoyed yourselves listening to another episode of Utter Randomness. My thanks to Ian, aka the Random Genius, for coming on and being a guest on the show. Thank you so much for coming on. It was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I hope you allow me back at some point in the near future.
Oh, heck yeah, definitely. Like,
Absolutely.
Let us know when you want to come back on, and we will get you straight back in, sir.
Depending on if anyone else wants to come on, because we're British, we have to form an orderly queue.
Yes.
Of course. You have to take a ticket from the ticketing system.
Exactly.
And then sort of Andy will just go. Andy will go to cashier number 1, please.
That's exactly what I
Go
was
to
going to say.
tally ho number 2, please.
You have to have it in you got to do it in in the lady's voice as well, like cashier number 5, please.
Surely we'd have it instead. I have like a ticket, and it'll be like episode 8, please.
Yeah.
The waiting queue time is 2 weeks.
And 12 hours.
And 37 minutes.
And 5 seconds. Just give like the full amount of how long it's gonna take. And as well, I want to give a big thank you to my partner in crime, James. As always, it's always a pleasure doing this show with you, sir.
And it's been a pleasure and an absolute spiffing time to do it with you two, mate.
Indeed. The love is strong. The love is strong right now. I can feel it. It's so good.
Well, I think it's love, but it's also blackmail. That's the only reason we're still friends.
Yeah, I mean that too.
Nothing about pure friendship anymore. It's just literally a case of. So why are you still friends with him? It's because you two share an unspoken bond? No, it's because he knows too much about me.
And oven gloves.
Yes.
We never speak of any other gloves.
And people that are probably listening in are thinking, what the hell are they talking about? Well, we'll discuss that maybe next time, sometime in the future. We'll leave that in.
Ooh, plot spoilers.
Plot spoilers.
Oh, we'll give away episode 9.
I love.
I'll bring the people in.
Yes, because people are going to be like, oven mitts? What's this about oven mitts?
I
must
need to
find
tune into
out.
Next week's show.
I need to tune into episode 9 on twitch.tv/The British Andy to just find out about oven mitts. I don't care about video games. I just want to know what about the mitts, man.
We're gonna start a trend, isn't it? Tell us the bits. Tell us the bits.
Oh my god, hashtag the mitts.
I'm not imagining you guys selling branded Tally-Ho show oven mitts.
Oh dear.
I said about selling stuff like that, but Andy said no.
What? No, I didn't say no. I said let's just wait it out, shall we?
Technically, that counts as a no.
No. Okay. We'll discuss this later. We'll discuss this later, James. We'll discuss this later.
I'll discuss this with you later.
Indeed. But right now, it is time to say goodbye and to also play off our new King's theme. This is what Ian has requested from Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. It's the theme of Phoenix Wright, so you're going to have to listen to an absolute banging of a tune. And then to end things off, we are going to be playing for you from Pokemon Battle Revolution. It is the credits theme. Now, something nice and soothing and relaxing to end off the show. So, let's say, guys, this has been the Tally-Ho Show with me, Andy.
And me, James.
And you've been listening as well to the soothing voice of Ian, aka the Random Genius. Again, thanks so much for coming on, good sir. And until next time, have a very good rest of your day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world. And we'll speak to you all very, very soon. Take care, and bye-bye for now.
Goodbye.
Bye. And thanks for stopping by.